currently stand, West Indies, CWI and ECB are in negotiations to move that tour to July.
And we're back.
We are indeed. Just in time. Just in the nick of. I'll introduce my fellow commentators. But it's 2 slips go down, and the first ball is bowled, and it's pushed straight to mid-wicket by Jason Roy. Craig Young, of course, the bowler. I am on with the mighty Grubby.
All right.
All right. And from the Wirral, the wizard of the Wirral himself, Al Hodge.
All right.
All right. Marvellous. It's that sort of erudition that you don't pay anything for, basically.
Indeed.
213, of course, the target for Ireland. In comes Young, right arm over, left by Roy. Just a shade of a way swing. And he kind of leant back and watched that through a little bit dismissively, perhaps. Almost as though it really wasn't worth his time and effort to play. What did he do in the first game, Al Jason? Not many. 24, didn't he? If he was LBW 2, indeed, Craig Young. Both he and...
He barely picked up a bat price there, did he? I think he got a first baller in one of the warm-up games.
Well, that's right. So his 2 slips go down wide and reached for by Roy. Don't tell me that's gone straight for a catch. I think it has,
mate.
It has. Would you believe it? He chased a wide one. He didn't get on top of it. His feet were nowhere. It's gone straight to cover. And he's gone for a big old blob.
Fuck off! Just fuck off!
Backers of the under will be happy there.
Well, I'm sure that was it was a shocking ball. And it was an even worse shot, I'm afraid, wasn't it, Grubby?
Yes, it was, I'm afraid. That's just the way Jason Roy plays, and things like that will happen to him occasionally. Because he fair middled it. It was a really wide one. He had to reach for it. He did pretty well to middle it. But having middled it, he found the fielder who took a pretty smart catch at that cover position. I was going to ask, even before that happened, actually, with Tom Banton inside, why would you not, and looking forward, say, to the next World Cup and all that cycle, because we're already a year into that 4-year cycle, aren't we? Why would you not consider opening with Tom Banton, just to see how that works out?
Well, I think that's not a bad shout. I think these two are quite established.
They are.
The thing I thought in the first game was, the thing I thought in the first game was they both seemed to play across their pads a lot into the leg side, and lo and behold, both went LBW.
Yeah.
But obviously very different today, but
particularly with Johnny B keeping, that there is a case for dropping him down the order. I know it's not the same as keeping and opening the batting in Test matches, but still, I would have thought you'd want to have a look at Banton as an international opener.
Roy Pond would like to tell you that we're doomed.
Of course he would. That's just his modus, isn't it?
Jingles.
Well, the new man. Who are we jingling there? Down the leg side. England will be off and running with a wide, I suspect. So they got at least one on the board. Not to James Vince, though.
Fair.
Yeah.
Over under 25 and a half runs for James Vince.
Oh, that's tricky. This man's bowling.
Introducing Craig Young. You'll get to know him once the day is done. He'll make you feel so dumb. He's got all the tricks. Does Craig Young.
He was most of the way through his run there, and out of courtesy for Bears jingling, realised that his own jingle hadn't finished, so he pulled out of his run-in, wheeled around, and will be about to start again. I don't think James Vince was ready.
I'll tell you what we need now, a breezy 25 off about 20 balls with 6 fours, and then nick off.
Maybe a little bit of polish to the edge of his bat, I think, was probably what was needed for a moment there. Plays that nicely, though, well, as he always does, on the offside, but straight to cover. There's no run. 1 for 1 England. We're as if to make a point, we're having a little look at how Vince got himself out on Thursday. Not a lot of
He looked-
footwork. Good old little waft outside of off stump.
He
3-2
looked
to
so
Lorcan Tucker,
good.
and gone he was.
Yeah,
He looked so good up to that point, though. I mean,
Peak-
it's still,
This is the way he
Glorious.
teases and taunts you, James Vince.
interesting to see his
Hampshire fans will get so frustrated
Yeah.
with that argument, yet he does it consistently. As in comes Young, beautifully left by Vince with a big high lift of his bat, and the ball watched through underneath it, through to Lorcan Tucker, and the England stay on 1-for-1. Not the start they were looking for by any manner of means. Very much the start Ireland were looking for. Who got themselves to well. Everyone was going, 220 would be quite good, and I kind of get that point, but I just don't think scoring runs is not that straightforward on this wicket. We saw it on Thursday. Sam Billings was the one who had to come in and sort of make a real difference there with Morgan. And that one, played late by Vince. Almost as though he was going to leave it and then suddenly changed his mind. But it's the end of the over. It's a successful one. It has counted for Jason Roy. England are 1-for-1. And we'll catch up with some tweets.
Jay Grover, I can't even be fucked to make a snark about Vince, so I hope he gets a ton. That's where we're up to. It's
beat you into submission, is he, Jay?
It probably describes where we're all at with regards to him, which is it's not even love or hate anymore. We've reached a point of ambivalence towards Jay.
Somewhere Ian Ice Cream Pierce has got his head in his hands going, I can't listen to this anymore about my beloved James Vince. But there you are.
Well, if Annie's got to hear it about Butler, then...
Well, the new batsman is the man with the jingle we all love, but unfortunately our jingler has apparently taken a trip to the woods. So you may have to wait to hear it, but it is Joshua Little in his 6 ODI. Best of 4 for 45. When he's so it meant he didn't take wickets in quite a few of his games there, because he only has one other wicket, and hence an average of 50 plus. But let's see what he's got here today. I think it's a fairly helpful wicket for the seam bowlers, or in as much as the balls I don't think really coming onto the bat. I'll get you gentlemen's thoughts on that once Johnny Bairstow has faced his first ball, which he's going to face from Joshua Little. Again, 2 slips. Bairstow washes this down leg side. I think that's going to be signalled another wide. It is. England have 2 on the board, neither with the bat. And we're seeing Joshua Little taking wickets at Malahide now against England, where I think he did. Was that where he got his 4? I should know the answer to that.
Yeah.
In fact, I will tell you. Yeah.
If it shows him getting more than 1, he's got 4.
Yeah, that was it. That's quite right. Well, he's in, left arm, and onto the back foot goes Bairstow. Vince, Milan, Morgan and Willie he accounted for on his debut, in fact, which does rather mean that his next 4 have been less than successful, rather, doesn't it? With just 1 extra on top of that. So clearly that was his best bowling.
Does he have brothers called Stuart and Sid?
Well, he has a jingle that's based on Stuart, doesn't he? But we haven't had a chance to play it yet. Hopefully between this ball and the next, as this is left quite deliberately by Bairstow outside of off stump Bear. Can we play his jingle?
I am Joshua Little.
It is brief. Really doesn't. I say with that haircut, he doesn't look like a man who'd have that sort of voice, does he? Really?
Yeah.
He looks more like he'd glass you in a pub than singing a very sort of high contralto voice.
He does look rough.
In he comes again, and this one is driven by Bairstow. And is it going to go between? It's going to go past extra cover. That might take some catching, I suspect. No, it will be caught. So Bairstow, I would imagine, will get himself 3. If they ran in lively order, only took 2. Now that rather surprises me. I would have seen once that was through sort of the shortish extra cover, you'd have expected these 2 to really put the pedal to the metal. They obviously didn't.
I have a question. I have a question for the audience and also for my esteemed gentleman colleague. So Little is the 3rd left arm seamer.
He's in, and that's driven again up and over extra cover. This time it is 4 runs, no doubt about that one.
It's me, says she. It's me, says she.
So Little's the third left-arm seamer we've seen today.
Yes.
I can't remember seeing a game of cricket where I've seen more left-arm seamers in a day.
No, well, it's very unusual, and in fact, didn't we say it was about 5 years ago, and it was the same two England seamers together?
Yeah, yes. The last time England fielded two.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
It was these two 4 years ago.
It is more unusual. Oh, and Bairstow was looking to a drive, as he's often his wont. His bat and pad were complete strangers in terms of their proximity. They were social distancing, and he inside edged it, but got 4 anyway.
It's me, says she. It's me, says she.
Yeah. Poor old Lorcan Tucker was completely fooled by that.
It's like he's only got one shot.
So was Bairstow.
He's only got one shot, Johnny Bairstow.
I would like to see is, at least you're allowed to put a meter in terms of social distancing. If you could get them that close, it would be helpful. As that one is pulled around the corner, pulled nicely by Bairstow. There's a man down there at deep backward square leg, though.
I wouldn't like to have to buy the wood for Johnny Bairstow's gate.
For it is a large gate.
For it is a large and wide gate.
Yeah.
A large, vacuous, gaping hole.
Well, he's moved on in fairly rapid order of 6 balls. He's on to 11. James Vince has faced 3, and he's yet to get off the mark. So his 25 has yet to start.
A couple of tweets for you. Martin White, I think, sums up the mood of a nation when he says, "Roy, you dopey twat." And Leia says, "Too bad the Irish bowlers are not targeting the English reproductive glands." And also, that jingle is so good. Probably
Which one? Is that the Joshua Little one, or is that
the Joshua Little?
Yes, he is rather sweet, isn't it? But as we said, he's not a man who looks like he fits that jingle. But it's going to be Mr. Young again, Craig Young, as that one is nicely played up and over mid-wicket, and it's 4 more for Bairstow, who's looking lively today.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Say what you like about Bairstow, but he can time a cricket ball, can't he?
He's got a shot for a ball.
He can, and you do feel that that natural eye and timing does occasionally cover up 1 or 2 technical issues.
Yeah. Well, he's a million miles away from the Test side at the moment, and I'm fairly happy about
Well, I think that is basically the case. And this one is forward. He's forward to this, played straight down into the ground. Irish fielders converge as a man, 4 of them. So they're looking lively. That early wicket has got them on their toes and about their work in sharp order.
Well, they did that thing between overs when they got that early wicket of buzzing around like angry wasps, didn't they? And no doubt there was a little bit of chirp going on for the new batsmen, or both new batsmen, really.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting that discussion then about players who have been in the Test team and are now nowhere near to it. I'll hold that thought for a second as Craig Young comes in, and this one is. Well, Bairstow had a mighty old swipe at it, looking to heave it away to mid-wicket, and got nowhere near it, and it was through to Lorcan Tucker. Yes, it's almost as though, and I try and choose my words reasonably carefully, but it looks like our ODI openers are sort of the consolation prize for failed Test openers, and because the one-day game and the white ball is that much more forgiving on technique than the red ball is.
The white ball moves far less than the red ball does at different match conditions.
2 slips go down. This one's pulled again by Bairstow down to mid-wicket. That's going to be 4 more. My word, he got hold of that.
There's not one boy for me. I must have 2 or 3. I need 4.
Is Bairstow going to score all of our runs?
Possibly. Is it hog the strike? I'll do it all myself.
This is England. This is the England approach, isn't it? Go hard from the top.
Yeah.
If you lose a couple of wickets, just keep going.
Yeah.
Is your point also a concession that opening in the ODI side and the Test side are 2 different jobs?
Yeah.
Yes. And this one's very full and played to mid-on by Bairstow, who had to be pretty quick on that. It was full and dipped into him a little bit late. And that one he did play nicely.
It was a classy dot ball.
It was a classy dot ball. 21 for 1, England. We're looking at his strike rate. He prefers clearly the ball fuller. His strike rate of nearly 130 to the fuller ball. Good length's only 70, short at 121. In comes Young again, and that one is chipped. And it's chipped very nicely indeed over the mid wicket, and it's 4 more. That was more subtle, Al, wasn't it? He knew what he was doing there. He didn't give it the full heave ho. It was a dink. It was what Brian Moore, the football commentator, would have called a dink.
Yeah, it's 3 overs in, you already know your margin for error is so small. That sense that it's just anything even leaning towards middle and leg these first 10 overs. There's a lot of open space out there, and I'm going to find it. Derek Wills says Bairstow scoring all of England's runs would be the most Bairstow of all things.
Well, we had the most James Vince of all things the other day, didn't we, with the pretty 25?
We did. And as in comes Joshua Little for his second over, again left arm over, and our friend James Vince plays this away to cover, and there's no run.
Is this England ODI all-rounder James Vince you're talking about?
It is. Well, of course, if he gets out cheaply, he'll go, well, I took a wicket, I'm a bowler now. I'm a bowler who bats quite high up the order.
He's the new Joe Denley.
He's the new Joe Denley. He tends to start quicker than Joe Denley, who certainly in test matches, really, I'll hold that thought, as in comes Joshua Little. Pulled around the corner. There isn't a long leg, it's going to be 4.
And if you kids can't listen, then you bound to see the way you get shot for crossing a boundary,
Tone, I think your description of Joshua Little looks like the sort of man who would glass you in a pub is absolutely bang on. He looks like a right dog.
Yeah. Well, it's only the haircut, so it's you see, I've had the same one. I had the lockdown tuck me all off, courtesy of my youngest this morning. As in comes Little, and that's slanted across James Vince. It's wide. You knew why he did it, though, don't you? You knew precisely why he bowled that ball. Didn't get away with it this time.
It's a lesser known fact, but Little's middle name is "Did you spill my pint?"
It's actually Brian, presumably named after the former Aston Villa footballer.
Brian Little.
Yeah, that's the fella.
Or the Pope.
Are you looking at my missus? No. Why? What's wrong with it?
In comes Little. Vince steps back, plays that nicely to point. There is no run. Vince on 4. Ooh, and there's some dark cloud gathering over the Rod Bransgrove pavilion. I do like that pavilion. Every time I see it, I like it. I like it when I'm actually at the ground. I always admire it. It's rather sort of functional and dull to be actually inside. It's sort of got a big kind of atrium area, and then sort of an open bar. I'll wait, and then comes Little, and that ducked back in. Did he get an inside edge to that? I would have thought that was worth a shout.
No, I think he must, didn't he?
Joshua Little was more thinking of headbutting him and didn't think to appeal.
I've been there a couple of times myself, and your description is pretty spot on. Or at least the parts of it that I was allowed to get into.
Yeah, well, because obviously being a Middlesex member or a county member, the reciprocal deal tends to get you into all the clubs. It's a nice enough bar.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, but the exterior of the pavilion promises far more than the inside delivers. Let's put it that way. Nicely forward comes Vince.
That reminds me of the lovely thing that somebody said about Lord Adonis. The man with the name that writes the cheques that his face cannot cash.
Indeed.
Very similar about the pavilion or the bar.
Well, it is.
The Rose Bowl.
It is. It just, you feel, look at it. I mean, we're looking at it now, and it's that gorgeous Moorish kind of tented top. A bit like the Mound Stand, of course.
Yeah, exactly.
The Mound Stand at Lords, and very much modelled after that.
Yeah.
As I'll wait for Joshua Little, and our James Vince plays that superbly and defensively away into the offside. No run, 81 miles an hour for Little. It's the end of his over. 30 for 1 England, and we'll catch up on some messages.
Yeah, we absolutely will. We want to say hi to Tanvir Ijaz, who is watching us on Cricket Tracker.
Hello.
Hello to you, sir.
Hello.
Our own Guerrilla Cricket feed reminds us to talk about the Hot Mic app, hotmic.io.
Hot Mic.
Use
Brilliant.
invite code GC Radio. Download it for free. We get cash.
It's really good, everyone.
Yeah, its point of difference is that it enables you. It recognises the where your feed is compared to your TV. As I'll wait as in comes Craig Young, and it's pushed him in on. For some reason, I always want to call him Angus Young. I can't help it. It'll pop out by mistake at some point. Don't ask me why.
Or Craig David.
I could call him Neil Young. I mean, there's loads of other people, Ashley Young, but for some reason, I just want to call him Angus Young, and it's just stuck in my head. It's just what happens when you get older.
Highway to hell.
I don't even know how we can help you.
You can't. This is it. You can't.
Happy to listen, Tone. You talk, and we'll imagine you're on a little couch, and we're your therapists.
Thank you. This one, there goes Vince. He got hold of everything and a bit more besides there, as he hauled this away through mid-wicket before. Somewhere between Sydenham and Claygate, floating in the ether, was a jingle that I just caught the tail end of. I rely on trust. I actually rely on the fact that I can see the bear and the actions he takes to play a jingle more than I ever actually hear them.
That was Johnny B, by the way.
Yes. Oh, it was another 4, was it?
Well, you correctly described the 4. It was just that you
it
said
was Johnny B.
and not Bairstow.
Oh, indeed. Well, Bairstow is on 27, Vince on 4.
That's right, Mr. Bishop. It was just the other batsman.
Yeah, thank you.
Anyway, on with the therapy session.
Craig Young, not Angus Young. Craig Young is 1 for 17, 34 for 1, England. And Young is bowling from the pavilion end. And forward comes Bairstow, nudges this nicely into the onside. They take a single. This time it will be James Vince. Do you know what? As I was actually saying it, I was thinking that's more of an unusual shot for Vince. That was much more of a Bairstow type shot. Because obviously Vince you associate with beautiful cover drives up until the point he nicks one, don't you? 35 for 1. Vince on 4. Bairstow 28. Craig Young is 3 balls into his third over. He's in and full and nicely defensively played back to him by James Vince, who seems to be concentrating hard, as indeed he should. He walks away, taking a little bit of, clearing his head time between deliveries. He must be conscious.
That was Craig David.
Craig David now.
Yeah, I was just giving you an alternative.
Wasn't he the Monday
chart
TT,
act?
Wasn't he the 7 days?
Yes, he was, yeah.
What an irritating song that is. What a really annoying song that is.
He's from Southampton as well.
Is he? I didn't know that. Amazing. And that one's clipped away to backward square by James Vince. Probably will net him a single. I doubt they'll come back for 2, and that is probably about right. Oh, hello. I literally have no idea why my phone's burst into life. It starts telling me things, but I'll stop. 36 for 1.
So his alternative career as an Uber driver is revealed in the most tragic of circumstances.
36 for 1, England. Bairstow 28, who's looked like the man in form, and he's hiked this. Has he got it over mid-wicket? He has. That's going to be 4 more.
And if you kids can't listen, then you bound to see the way you get shot for crossing a boundary,
Well, both these men, Grubby, have points to prove, don't they? Don't you think?
Bairstow plays like a man who always feels that he has a point to prove. And
Normally he has.
And he's usually right. James Vince definitely does. But if I were Vince, I would just be admiring what's going on at the other end at the moment. It's just some beautiful timing. And to be fair to him, or to the England, he's they're not being the cleverest in how they bowl to him. Easy for me to say from sitting here.
Wow.
But they're bowling slot balls to him, and for a man of his eye.
In comes Joshua Little, and James Vince plays this to mid-off. He had that one moment of fortune, didn't he, with a big old inside edge that he got away with. And since then, he seems to have really picked up his game.
He's thinking, I want to do this in 20 overs, or 25 overs.
I have a party to go to, obviously suitably socially distanced. So if he did, it would all be most welcome.
Oh, good. What's the party?
Oh, it's just my neighbour's daughter's party. As forward comes Vince, away to point, no run.
we just want to say hello to Vikash Yadav, who is watching us on Crit Tracker.
Hello, Vikash.
Warm welcome to you. 40 for 1 you're watching with us. And Vince on 5, Besto 32.
Martin White said that he thinks that Topley looks like Ben Stiller in Zoolander.
He does, doesn't he? Yes, he does.
But a good foot taller.
Yeah, yes. As the 2 slips go down, Joshua Little is in, and not a pretty shot from Vince, who seemed to be rather squeezed there. Not his usual elegance, driving into the offside.
No, he's
Got a
certainly
little bit tucked up, didn't he?
Yeah, he's certainly not timing it like his partner is at the moment, and timing is a big part of James Vince's game. I mean, it sounds like an obvious thing to say about a batsman, but he is a definite timer of a ball, isn't he? And he is fantastic to watch when he's in that form.
I only realised after he died that what's his name? Ben Stiller was the son of Jerry Stiller. As this one is more Vince-like. That is Vince. I mean, that is the James Vince cover drive. Exquisite 4 runs.
Is there anything finer in the game of cricket or sport or life at large that is better than a glorious cover drive like that?
No, everything was right about that. If you just look at the positioning, it was maybe slightly reaching for it.
No.
But nonetheless, it was his head. His head was beautifully still. The full arc of the bat, and it was terrific. And he leaves this one. He could have been tempted to have another go. It was just a little bit higher.
Yeah, because I didn't get Bear's prediction about whether he was going to go under or over 25. I don't know if that glorious cover drive is going to.
He's going to let us know. I'm predicting.
I decided not to go on Vince. I went on Bairstow. I went over 57.5, I think.
Bloody hell.
Well, he's doing his best to help you out there, Bear.
And over and a half away, by the way, he's going.
It's Joshua Little's going to bowl the last ball of his 3rd over, and this one is cut by Vince. Cut through point, cut all the way for 4 more.
1, 2, 3, 4.
So he's starting to open his shoulders a bit. Bairstow's shoulders were already well and truly opened. England are closing in on 50. They're 48 for 1, and we're 6 overs into the first 10. Obviously, England 1 up in this series, so they'd win the series if they were to win today. But in the new ICC World ODI Championship, every game carries points, and every game carries the same number of points, doesn't it? So there's no dead rubbers.
And what do points make?
Well, points make positions in the table, as well as prizes.
I was going to say that's not really good.
Points are the things Watford didn't get enough of this season.
I haven't seen you since then. I'm very sorry, Tony.
Life goes on, and this one is mightily heaved by Johnny Bairstow over deep square leg for 6. What a gorgeous shot that was!
That was lovely.
Wasn't it just? Wasn't it just? He just kind of followed the direction of the ball, really, and he just helped it on its way. It wasn't a full-blooded, meaty pull. It was a case of really letting the ball do the work. So well played, Johnny B. And this one, he cuts through point. Oh, 2 players completely miss it on the dive. And it's Kevin O'Brien in the end who goes thundering after it. They will get themselves 2, or did they come back to 3?
Trip, step, recover, fall.
Yeah, let's have a look. Yeah, 2 of them fell.
I've got it. I don't have it. Oh, no.
That's it. One diving to his left, one diving to his right. They both seem to miss it completely. And poor old KOB, the senior statesman, he had to go trundling off after it to pull it up just short of the rope. Johnny Bairstow now then on 41. Still 2 slips for Ireland, full and clipped off his toes, but straight to mid-wicket. And by Vince. So they did take 3. Bairstow 41. He's obviously got the Bears bet very much in his mind.
Hello.
He wants to say something.
No, I just wanted to say hello to Neymar Butlins. He's downloaded Hot Mic and he says it's ace.
It is ace. Well done, Neymar. Good decision. You won't regret it for a second, my friend. I'm surprised that Ireland didn't start with spin today. I would always start with spin to Johnny B.
Yeah. Ooh. something up there, and that one's left alone outside of the off stump by James Vince. I wonder if every time he gets one wide of off stump, there's something in his head that goes drive, leave, nick. It's always got to be one of those three, isn't it?
The swingometer goes.
Drive, leave, nick, drive, leave, nick, drive, leave, nick.
After that sumptuous cover drive in the previous over, he then left the next ball outside the off stump, and I gave him a little round of applause. Like in India,
quite conspicuously, I thought.
Yeah, and then he whacked the next one for as well.
In comes Young and driven though straight to mid off this time, so there's no run. 213, remember the target that England are trying to haul in. At the moment they're setting about it like they want to get it done in sort of fairly rapid order. Craig Young has got that wicket of Jason Roy, but other than that he's been taken no small amount of tap. He's gone for 32, so close to 10 and over for him. One ball left of his fourth. This one is beautifully played by Vince. Backward a point. Again, it beats a dive. But round comes Joshua Little from third man. They will get 2. Vince will move on to 15. It's the end of the over, and we'll catch up with some more messages.
We certainly will. Jay Grover, picking up on what we said about Little. I really now want Tony to glass me in a pub for shits and giggles. Derek Wills has sent us a picture of what could only be described as monsoon-like conditions.
Where?
And just with the words dark clouds, you see. Whereabouts are you, Derek? Jay Grover, I know I've been up for a bit, but for some reason your last 10 minutes of commentary has given me a fit of unmanly giggles. Just don't call Gary Wilson Tony.
Oh, Ireland just have this thing about wicketkeeper. They keep changing the wicketkeepers in every series just to try and catch me out. And I actually, there's a long story why I call him Gary Wilson. I'm not going to go into it now because people are probably bored with hearing it.
Ralph the Wonder Llama is checking copyright regulations with Warwood Palm, I think, over the words of the dude.
59 for 1 are England. 212 for 9, remember, Ireland 8. So 154 runs more needed. And the cry for a change of pace and a bit of spin has been answered, because we're going to see Andy McBride with an N, not Andy McBride with a D. We're not going to jingle it, which I thought we were. Oh, here we are.
Andy McBride. Now some say he's a genius and others say inside he's handy with the ball. He holds them all in thrall. He's Andy McBride, Bride.
Well, he's in, and down the track immediately to meet him comes Johnny Bairstow, who loftily off drives that. I think we're looking. Are we checking whether that's a 4 or 6? I thought it was a 4. Bear's giving.
I think it's gone straight into the sponge, isn't it? That'll be 6.
And let's have a look. Bear, is the Bear right? He quite often is. No, I think I'm right that time. So we'll chalk that up as my equaliser for the earlier googly debate.
2 + 2 is our man.
Debate Grubby, it wasn't pretty what happened with that googly and the prediction of Bestradamus.
Bestradamus, 63 for 1. And forward comes Bairstow rather than Bestradamus. It's just sort of edged away into the offside. Isn't it funny how people see different things when they're watching something on the TV? Bear, I think, does have the benefit of an enormous TV in front of him, whereas we're sort of squinting at what's on our laptops. Down the track again comes Bairstow.
That one's a 6.
Bear, that one was definitely a 6.
50 runs, your 50 runs. Well done, well done, well done, well done. 50 runs, your 50 runs. The job is only just begun.
Well, that rattled one of the empty seats, probably about 5 rows back in front of the Hilton Hotel. And,
somewhere there's a person with a ticket who's gone, that would have hit me square in the head.
Yeah, maybe it was just as well I missed out. I'd have had to catch that on camera.
21 balls.
21 balls, 51 for Johnny B, and he waits for that nicely. He just tickles it into the leg side. And McBride has to chase after it himself, so they'll take a single. Well played, Johnny Bairstow. It's been a good 50. Had his one moment of luck, got away with that massively whopping inside edge. But well played, because he not only smacked 2 quite identical well, 1-4, 1-6, but similar shots, lofted off drives. But well played him for then playing the next ball of the over squarely on its merits. Onto the back foot goes James Vince. He's going to give Johnny Bairstow back the strike by just working this to deep mid on. There's always that single there all day for the taking, because that mid on, of course, is set quite deep. You're only allowed so many men in the circle, of course.
Do you like the idea of a batsman coming in and recognising that another batsman's in form, so let me just get out of your way?
Well,
Just
especially
take it back,
when his natural game, I'll hold that for a second, as forward comes Bairstow, pushes this to mid-wicket, there's no run. Especially when that other batsman's natural game is also fairly aggressive.
Yeah.
Not quite as bullishly, belligerently aggressive as Johnny B's. Players get these reputations because of what they do, don't they? And in the case of Johnny Bairstow, he does tend to be more aggressive and belligerent. In the case of James Vince, you kind of expect 25 pennyworth of elegance. But Johnny Bairstow has been quite magnificent. 52 off, 21 balls, did we say?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's faced a dot ball since then, but yes, he's played superbly well. We were talking about batsmen who have been jettisoned, some probably permanently from the test setup, and you could actually make another good ODI side from those players. You think, well, these two at the crease at the moment, you can add Alex Hales into the mix, you can add Jason Roy into the mix, and just gradually they're starting to separate those two things out again.
Well, we're going to see a change of bowling, and we'll jingle him up. It's the man who batted so superbly, not once but twice here, and also took a wicket last time out. Here he is, Curtis Camphor, and it's tickled around the corner by Vince.
You must have got a neck on that.
Yeah, I think so. Bear's going to play a jingle.
Now who's this coming on? Camphor waited. In South Africa he wasn't rated. In Ireland he is venerated. He worked hard so...
As in comes Camphor. Vince nicely played to backward point, but no run. 59. What did he make today? Obviously he made 59 and took 1 for 26 in the last game. 65-ish. Yeah, and he really started to open his shoulders towards the end of that as well, didn't he? Having twice been in a position where Ireland could have easily fallen over. So not only has he been their saviour, I'll wait as he's in, right arm over, and nicely played by Vince, but straight to cover, and there is no run. So not only has he had to dig Ireland out of precarious positions on 2 occasions, on the second of those occasions he really started to look like a batsman who could play some very inventive. We saw a reverse ramp, didn't we? We saw some reverse sweeps. He's got a full kit bag of trickery at his disposal, I think, as Curtis Camphor. Very much look forward to see more of him in the future.
Definitely. 68 he got today.
And he's in. Thank you. He completely cleaned up James Vince with one that came back in. Vince played all round it. The middle stumpers out the ground, and Camphor does it again. He's unstoppable.
He's got that cliched thing about him, and they say about all-rounders, makes things happen.
He doesn't he just?
Now, did that come off? Did that move off the pitch, or is Vince just playing at a ball that that he thinks he saw but didn't see?
No, I think it did, because we saw that shot very quickly afterwards from behind the stumps. So to me, that did move in just a shade. It wasn't a huge piece of movement, but again, there was a whopping gap between bat and pad, and there it was. If that had been Johnny Bairstow, we go, oh well, there you go. That's almost, there's Johnny's, there's the Watford gap, the Bairstow gap. You expect it less from Vince, don't you? But it was there, and his defences are penetrated.
Indeed, credit the bowler though. I think he did. I think his angle was exacerbated off the pitch. I think there was a bit of sea movement as well, but it was helped by his natural angle, sort of wideish of the crease.
Yeah. Let's get up to date on some tweets then. Leia, 1 month out from moving back to the civilised world from a third world shithole. Yay me! And then I know, and now I'm a bit disappointed. Bairstow's jingle isn't based on the Hooters song Johnny B. Derek Wills tells us that he lives in Wrightsville Beach, North Carolina. Afternoon thunderstorm has arrived. Pirate Bradshaw, you are a sage, sir. You've turned around and said, could do with a wicket soon, and then lo and behold, you got it. Layer again, what a glorious pandemonium of jingles. Messi Jez, what's the point of James Vince? And then Derek Wills, yeah, sure, Vince completely missed it, but if he had hit it, it would have been a wonderful drive.
Well, this is true. Well, it's going to be Tom Banton is the new man. He's facing Kampfer, and Kampfer was a little bit late on that, but no damage done. Bear's going to jingle him.
Tom Banton is a beauty training player, and he'll go all the way. He's gonna do better than anyone you've seen before. This is the only way that he knows how to play. Oh, he's a little champion, Tom Banton.
Kampfer is in to Banton, and that one moves in. Oh, he's dropped.
No, I think it's about bump ball, I think.
Was it a bump ball? I
it was
am
a
not
bump ball.
so sure. I would be very interested to see that again.
Sky made a big deal in the first ODI about the fact that Kampfer got Banton out in an under-19s game and then proceeded immediately to get him out in the first one-day international. So Sky are trying to peddle the idea that Banton is
His
Kampfer's bunny.
Yes. Well, it's interesting again. You know, Morgan billed to come in 4, or had they actually elevated Banton?
No, Banton was listed at 4.
Oh, Banton was listed at 4. So it'd be interesting to see if Owen Morgan will come in at 5, or whether he'll let Sam Billings, who was of course on a roll from the previous ODI, continue.
Woy Woy Pom is saying Woy Woy Pom things and says the collapse is on.
Well, who knows? As this one from McBrien is worked nicely into the onside down to deep mid wicket where Joshua Little awaits. Bairstow will get a single, and Tom Banton will be back on strike. Man of Somerset. He's slightly got an Overtonian jaw as well, hasn't he, Tom Banton? Am I right in seeing that, Grubby?
Jaw jut.
A bit of jaw jut. A bit of what's his name?
Robson,
Desperate Dan. Touch of the Desperate Dans.
Jerome Flynn. He's the other one.
Oh yes, as this one is. He steps back and cuts, but he cuts straight to cover, and there's no run for Banton. He'll be wanting to get himself shifting, get himself on the move. Only managed 11 before, as we have discussed, falling to Kampfer. McBrien is who he's dealing with now, and he's off the mark. He's off the mark, takes a single to mid-wicket, then thought very briefly about turning for a second and quickly decided that wasn't the smartest of ideas. 944 runs in 34 matches in his 20 over career, averaging 30.45 is Tom Banton. It's only his 5th ODI, of course. 73 for 2 England. McBrien is in, back steps Bairstow, pulls it away through deep mid wicket. It's 4 more.
There's not one boy for me, I must have 2 or 3, I need 4.
Yes.
Bear needs 1 more for his bet, I think.
Muscled it away, didn't he, Johnny B there? Step back, and it was one of those where it was all the meat and potatoes, gravy and veg and everything on his plate.
56 and a half.
Went into that.
Oh, well, you've done it then.
Nice.
77 for 2, and forward quite nicely comes Johnny B this time. And again, there is that rather carefully well-judged defensive shot following a meaty pull. We have 1 ball left of this, and then there'll be a changing of the guard. Onto the back foot goes Bairstow. It's to mid-on. There is no run. It's the end of the over. 77 for 2 England, 1 for Banton, 57 for Bairstow. We will have Nestle Boy, and I can't remember who's taking over as well on ball.
I believe it's me.
What fantastic! It's
according to the rest of
Robbie to absolutely delight you.
And myself.
Wonderful. What more could you hope for?
Well, with our very best thanks to Al and to Tony for that last session, as I welcome the Bear and Nestle Boy into the combo.
Hey.
Hello, Nestlers. How are you?
Good, mate. How are you?
All the better for seeing you, my friend.
that's
I know. I don't mean any of it, but it's nice to say anyway.
It sounds like you mean it though, and that's all that
There
matters.
we are. I do, of course I do. And the bear is going to be doing several multitasking things, I believe.
Yeah, I'm here doing the usual shit.
Yeah. Right. I'm very excited to be able to commentate on Tom Banton, although not for long it seems, because he was almost chopping on there. He's got an inside edge, very nearly smacked into his off stump, but instead he's got a streaky 4 down to long leg. Well, Camphor makes things happen.
Camphor is one of those guys who looks completely. Wished I could hear those jingles. Camphor is one of those people who looks completely different without their helmet on.
He does. He's got a rather unfortunate kind of side parting haircut going on. The sort of thing that Dale Steyn had for a little while. It didn't suit him very much either. Anyway, he's having a fine game here. 1 wicket and 68 runs in Ireland innings. This is driven by Banton back of the square. That's your man Little, I think, coming in to do the fielding from the third man boundary, and he gets a single.
Well, at least not.
It won't be Banton's natural thing to do, but just give it to Johnny B. Just rotate the strike back round. It's also a no ball, so it's going to be a free hit, as if you need to give any extra help to Bairstow.
I'm sorry for talking you over the line with the ball.
Oh, bloody hell.
Yeah, there's a lot of frees. It's a free hit.
That's miles.
Yeah, but I like the cut of this young man's jib, Curtis Camphor. He's a real find, isn't he?
Well, yeah, fine. I was about to say a fine from South Africa. No one can take the piss out of us anymore. Jesus.
Ah, it's fine. It's fine.
Oh yeah, no, I don't mind.
You like to see talent coming through wherever, don't you?
Well, you do, but you wonder how some of the South Africans feel.
This is full ball. This is the free hit. He slams it to long on. They were able to change the field because the batsman had crossed. So you're able to do that if it's the same batsman who's there for the free hit, then you can't. But you can if they do rotate. So anyway, Bairstow gets another run.
There are various strands to this. There is, how do the South Africans feel losing another young player who's got potential? I don't know where he is in the rankings over there, but I have the South African GCSA's feed, and they're all rambling on about it this afternoon.
He's got 2 slips in play here. Ireland do need to take hits to get back into this game if they are going to get back into it. Banton gets a full ball outside the off stump and digs it out to short cover, and there is no run. It's 84 for 2 at the moment, halfway through the 11th.
They were quite happy to give us Peterson.
They weren't.
Not sure they were happy, but they had no
happy
choice
to get rid of him.
Well, some people were, but obviously.
Some people were happy to see the back of him.
You'd have to say net gain for England, though, wouldn't you?
The
full delivery, and this is driven beautifully by Banton. That's going to race away to the long on boundary for 1 of it.
It's Nissan She. It's Nissan She.
I know I'm slightly Somerset biased, although who knows for how long or how many times you'll play for Somerset in the near future, Banton. But he really is a gorgeous thing to watch when he bats.
That was a lovely shot. I mean, England are going to do this in about, 27 overs?
A
bit like the first one.
This is just played out onto the offside, not quite timed, and there is no run.
But if Bairstow carries on, they'll do it in about 20.
Well, Bairstow's going to be eyeing one of the fastest hundreds in ODI cricket for England.
Now, who's got the fastest moment? It's Gimlet-eyed Joss, isn't it?
Probably Gimlet-eyed Joss, yes.
46 balls or something, I think.
Should I try and look it up while also commentating?
No, I could try and do it while I'm sitting here.
I'll commentate on the TV because I'm glitching on the screen here. This is played defensively off the back foot by Banton. It's fielded at backward point and there is no run.
Let me look at...
I can probably do it there. I can probably do it.
Okay.
While you're whistling away there, Chris TB says Irish player of the series, Curtis Camphor or his gran.
Yeah. Very good.
And Neymar Butlins goes, meat and potato shop, was that racist against the Irish? To which Tony Bishop says, no! We like our spuds. We're happy with our spuds.
Mr. All, no, not you again.
Jake Rovers hasn't had a haircut for about 3 years. Used to skin it off in the summer months, but now as I'm tattooed, middle-aged and portly, that make me look like a member of the EDL. Any of us lot got any frolic advice?
This is just turned gently into the leg side by Johnny Bairstow. It's the start of a new McBride over, and he's going to get a single. He moves on to 59, and the score is 89 for 2.
Jay, you could always go down the route that Shane Warne, Gucci, Goffey have done, couldn't you? And apparently Ben Stokes now. Advanced Hair Studios, isn't it? Ooh, marvellous.
It is Josh Butler who holds that record, by the way. 46 balls versus Pakistan. This is defended back up the track by Tom Banton off the back foot. He's moved on quite serenely to 10. Bairstow has 59, and England are 89 for 2.
That's a tight one then. 46 balls. He's got 17 balls.
In fact, Butler has the 2 fastest.
Yes.
And Moeen Ali, I think, has the 3rd fastest. As this one is driven back up the track defensively, and there is no run. If I'm a bit betwixt and between the balls here, it's because my screen here is glitching, so I'm watching the TV in my lounge. He's onto the back foot, Banton, very quickly, and pulling this through mid-wicket. It's fielded by Joshua Little, who seems to be everywhere, and they come through for a single.
Well, that's perfect. That's in time with what I'm watching. Have you shooed the children away?
Well, got one staying at the mother-in-law's. We've just been on holiday this last week, all of us,
course,
with loads of other family members, and we've dropped the mother-in-law and my youngest off. He's going to stay with her for a few days. Bairstow's down the track, dancing down the track, and just swooshing it through, straightening on for another one of these.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, the Tinternet is not good today. I don't know if it's this weekend, everyone's at home.
It's fine with the cool bit of it, as Bairstow nudges this to short mid-wicket, where they've got a man stationed, thank the Lord. It's 94 for 2 after 12. It's just the feed of the action there on my laptop screen. Which is
exactly what
exactly the same
Nestle
problem
Boy
I've
said.
got.
And the CPU is pushing about 20%, no, about 50% more than it usually does on one of these. But there's something going on somewhere.
This is where Bear gives an answer that I can't understand every other word.
It's just you notice things, you know. That's a bit odd, you know. People are saying that, and everyone's having the same problem.
24.4% CPU I've got on mine.
Well,
I don't know what the normal rate is, Bear.
No. Normally, it's, with our brand new racy new computer that we got at GC Towers.
Camphor starts a new over. He bowls a ball on the pads of Banton, and Banton duly whips it through mid-wicket, where there was a half-assed attempt at fielding. It didn't work. It's run all the way to the boundary for one of these. Lovely Tresco. Lovely Marcus Trescothick on the boundary there.
He was looking very healthy, wasn't he?
Yeah, well, no reason why he shouldn't.
Well, indeed, that's true.
Yeah, I'm wondering how he's feeling in his first summer of not being a player for about 30 years. Another full delivery. Could that be out LBW? It is out LBW. It's your man again. He strikes. Tom Banton's got to go. Is he thinking about reviewing it? He probably shouldn't. I think I was cannoning into leg stump. Johnny Bairstow is wandering up to him as if to say, "I'll have that. Thanks very much." you be on your way, Mr. Bant and Mr.
By the time that I do, you'll be gone.
Although because of the home umpires, you get an extra one.
Yes,
they got two reviews. It's interesting. Every time each team get an extra review, it's kind of like, ooh, you have the I'll just spunk it for free type one. I think that could be, you know, well, you might not do it in a normal game because you got the extra. I think they should bring more in the real thing. It would be more fun.
Yeah, we've seen some ridiculous ones recently, though, haven't we?
Well, exactly. I suppose it wastes time.
How do you get rid of that? Do you know what I mean? How do you get rid of the nonsense ones, where it's clearly not out and it's being used for, you know, supposedly tactical reasons or?
Oh, what you mean, Jason Holder in the last test against the West Indies?
Well, there was that one, yeah.
They were really. I mean, they were totally tactical. Yeah, I mean, bowlers make tragic mistakes, and I guess Yeah, maybe actually I'm arguing against myself there, aren't I? Less. But I do like a good review. But I have noticed how they've been a lot more. Jason Holder and Ruti were a lot more frivolous, just having one more review over the summer.
Yeah,
because they knew.
Yeah, well, naturally, that's human nature, isn't it?
Yeah.
You got more chances, you take those chances.
Yeah, true.
Not blaming the players.
No, I'm not.
But there's
either.
something really wrong where you're allowed to review an LBW decision where it's pitched about a yard outside leg and no one bats an eyelid.
Yeah, I guess so.
At best, that is gamesmanship.
Yes,
it's cheating.
Well, is it cheating? You're allowed to do it. It's within the rules of the game. Yeah. You're deluding yourself to a certain degree because actually, I mean, I can think of those points in the ODIs. In the tests. You know, if Jason Holder, if they had managed to hang out to the end of the day, and then there's a contentious LBW at the end of the day, and they blown up. They blew them out earlier, then it would be their own fault. Anyway,
talk to Tim Payne about that. So we've got England's answer to Prince Harry, who was wandered to the crease, and his first ball is defended into the offside, and there is no run. Looks very pleasant there at the moment in Southampton. Nice sunny evening. We're just seeing a replay of the LBW. There was no bat involved, and I suspect this is just crashing into leg stump, isn't it? I think it's. Umpire's call. All right, it was umpire's call, but it wouldn't have been overruled.
Yeah,
I can see why he felt aggrieved, but the batsmen always do. Billings is back and playing this one nicely between cover, point, and extra cover. I think it's gone all the way to the boundary, despite a valiant effort to field it. He's off the mark with a 4.
1, 2, 3, 4.
We should have a little jingle for our man Billings, shouldn't we?
Yep.
A bit like this.
Stroking the ball through the covers, pinging it deep through backward. Billings is softly scoring runs. Billings is softly hitting long, laying his own shots. Undeterred, Billings is softly scoring runs.
Gets the ball on leg stump this time. Billings inflicts it round the corner, but there's a man stationed on the boundary. Sunny Singh down there does the fielding, and they come through for a single. England move on to 103 for 3.
I quite like Billings. He's not really had much of a run, is he? He's a bit, he's down the pecking order, but I quite liked him.
Yeah, I mean, there are always, when you get great teams, and you have to say now that England have won the World Cup, it's a pretty damn good one-day international team.
Absolutely.
There are always players who have to miss out, and you think back to the great Australian test team, when the likes of Darren Lehmann only got to play one test.
Yeah.
And you think, bloody hell, or Stuart Law, or people like that. And that's, it's just one of the corollaries of having a tremendous team, I suppose. But yeah, you're right, he's not really had an extended run to try and prove himself. This is steered away on the leg side by Johnny Bairstow, flicking it to the square leg, and he gets himself another simple single. He's scoring at a strike rate of 200 exactly at the moment. Johnny B, 64 off 32 balls. Billings has 5 off 3. England are 104 for 3 at the end of the 13th over.
I mean,
which over is it?
This goes back to what you were saying earlier, though, Grubby. I mean, you look at this side, and it's a pretty good side, and it's half of it's not England's first string,
Yeah.
And you've got Chris Jordan out; he'd be a decent addition to this.
Completely, yeah.
And players like that, we are in a bit of a glut at the moment, aren't we?
Yeah. And I was just wondering, though. I started talking about this before, but so we're now 1 year into the next World Cup cycle. It was quite clear in the previous cycle the direction of travel. Getting rid of some of the old guard, sticking with the guys that you've kind of earmarked for greatness, and being ruthless about selection. You just wonder where it's going this time, with such a big pool of talent as well.
Well, I'll have time for people to lose. I mean, I guess you'll have time for people to lose form, be replaced by, people are maturing.
Yeah.
Exactly as you say, it's a 4-year cycle. So in 2 years' time, someone who's just up and coming now might have completely secured their place in 2 years' time, and they've got something to aim for. I mean, there's competition. It's good, man.
So if you've been really ruthless, well, they've already been ruthless, haven't they? Plunkett didn't get a central contract.
No.
You might think, well, he's not going to play in the next World Cup, but you might then turn around and go, I mean, Owen Morgan has hardly been unequivocal about his future as an England player, let alone captain. So and it would be a stretch of the imagination to think he's going to be captain come the next World Cup. So
yeah, but they're looking at him.
There?
Yeah, but they're looking at him as captain in the T20 World Cup as well, and it's only a yearly thing, isn't it, with the central contract? So he was obviously going to. He kind of got loyalty for winning it. I mean, there was an argument. We were having an argument before the World Cup that Owen Morgan was one of the droppable players, and he was the skipper when you were looking at it. I mean,
he's still a pretty damn fine one-day international player.
Yeah, true. But coming into the World Cup, the year coming out to the World Cup, he didn't have the best year actually, and then he kind of pulled it out of the bag just before.
Joshua Little, the glassing pub hooligan, is back into the attack, and he starts with a ball just back of the length to Johnny Bairstow, the left armour coming over the wicket, and Bairstow just dobs it down in front of him. There is no run.
What, this man?
I'm Joshua Little.
Yep.
That's
never seen that. I've never seen that film.
Is it from a film? Is it from a genuine film?
Is it from Stuart Little?
I presume it's from Stuart Little. Yeah.
He's over the wicket again, and this is bunted back over his head by Johnny Bairstow. 1 bounce, 2 bounces, 3 bounces over the rope, dead straight, 4 runs. He has a fantastic eye for a ball, Johnny Bairstow. Great timer of the ball, and he's just really enjoying himself today.
And I really
wouldn't know it.
And I really agree with your point earlier. I mean, he's a lot. This whole new regime change on the Test side. The Test side looks a completely different beast now, doesn't it? Bayless has gone. Suddenly you've got 2 stodgy.
Who knew?
Yeah, well, different funny that. Yeah,
horses for courses. Funny enough. Yeah, driven along the ground this time, but the result is much the same. It's still 4 runs, but all along the carpet.
That went like a tracer bullet.
So I was just about to say he may not get that quickest international century for England, won the international century. He's now got 10 balls to get 28 runs, so it's just within the realms of possibility. And I for one would love to see that.
It'd be quite interesting to see, wouldn't it?
A little bit of jeopardy in the game, in which there's been very little jeopardy, to be fair.
Let me catch up with some tweets at the end of this
go for
over.
it, Nestlers.
At the end of this over.
Oh, you can squeeze them in wherever. I'll just stop talking wherever.
Yeah, just stop talking, will you? Fuck's sake.
Here comes Little. Left arm military medium. Crashed back straight again, as this time it's been fielded by the man running over from mid-off, and Bairstow will have to content himself with 1.
Missed a chunk of today's guerrilla action, but back to watching now, says Grits and Grats. So good to hear Grubby again. Bet that's been said already. Has anyone mentioned how much his video link resembles a hostage video, though? Free Terry Waite.
It's the beard.
I'm chained to a radiator.
Every day my mum asks the question, has anyone heard anything about Terry Waite?
My mum was in touch earlier, by the way, saying how much she was enjoying listening to her one and only son on the radio.
Did she ask about Terry Waite?
Oh, daily, yes. Daily. Here comes Little again to Billings, who plays an absolutely glorious looking cover drive. And it's half stopped there, and I think so quickly did it go that neither batsman had a chance to move, and there's no run.
Jay Grover says, never has a jingle been more apt than Billings. He kills, not softly, but silently. Boff was lucky to play 1 test, let alone 27, says Leah. And Jay says, no, Bear, you were having an argument with everyone else about Morgan getting dropped.
Little's in again, a shorter delivery, which is pulled around the corner by Billings, a bit under edgily, and can come through for a single.
Yeah, but it felt like at the time that he was having a pretty poor run of things going into the World Cup, and there were people pushing for places. Admittedly, then Alex Howes went, got high at Christmas and it changed the dynamic a little bit. But there was a point where you could say that he was droppable in the 18 months before the World Cup.
Well, I wonder whether Johnny Bairstow might have been dropped had Hales not done what he'd done.
Quite possibly.
It was almost perm 2 from 3, wasn't it?
It was definitely perm 2 from 3, and you had a ready-made backup if something went wrong, and that's actually where England stumbled in the middle. So when they did lose Roy, and the ready-made backup Hales could have easily stepped in and done the job, but no, they decided they weren't going to play, and they're going to play James Vince.
Right, Sam Billings is on strike. He's got 6. England 114 for 3. He gets a ball on leg stump. They've been too leg stumpy most of the seamers, I would say, today. And that one gets the treatment it deserves. A beautiful clip through square leg and all the way to the boundary for 4.
That was sumptuous timing. That went really fast.
Yeah, he's pretty bloody good, Sam Billings.
He's easy on the eye as well.
Yeah, I like an aesthetically pleasing batsman.
Yeah,
that's why I do like watching Vince, and I love watching Ollie Pope as well.
I love watching Ollie Pope. Vince, I like watching him, but it's the inevitable failure that gets me.
Camphor is in, and a textbook forward defensive stroke from Billings, showing the maker's name, playing it back to the bowler.
But they were playing a lot of video of Vince earlier in this, sort of technically analysing him, and he fucking plays so far from his pads, though. I mean, his head's nowhere near the goddamn ball, and you are going to nick off if you do that. He's had years to learn to alter this. He might have tried certain things, but he's clearly never there because he's playing miles outside the line of his eyes.
Fielder comes into short mid-wicket position. It's also still a slip in play. Paul Sterling saying, "I'm not moving from there, lads. Thanks very much." This is angled in by Camphor towards Billings, who inside edges it to that man at the short mid-wicket position. And there is no run. Little mid-pitch conflab between Billings and Bairstow about what I do not know because my lip reading was not quick enough.
Wow, I've just gone the full distance with two competitive teams. We'd be here to about 10:30, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking the over rate was pretty good earlier on, though. I think they've been getting through the overs quite well.
Yeah.
Billings with the sun on his face, faces up to Camphor, angles it down to backward point, and there is no run.
Have we got ODIs and stuff against the Pakistanis? Is there a little T20 and ODI series at the end of that series? Before the supposed Australian series? Anyone?
I don't know.
Not heard of anything.
Very much looking forward to the Test series, though.
Yeah, I am as well.
It's normally a really, really good competitive
one,
affair, isn't it, between us and Pakistan? This is driven with not the best timing by Billings. He's probably going to get a couple of runs, though, for his trouble through extra cover. Yeah, come back to 2.
I do wonder, though, whether we have a massive advantage having played 3 properly competitive tests against the West Indies. Over Pakistan.
Probably. Yeah.
And we're playing again at Old Trafford. We just both 2 tests there. The wicket won't be that different, you know. It's going to be tough for Pakistan coming in. But England have a habit, even when a home series, against changing opposition and losing that first test. So maybe we'll just come in and be overconfident. And fuck it up.
Terrible record, aren't we?
Yeah.
Billings once again faces up and he lets this one go through to the keeper. That's the end of the 15th over. England, 8 and over, 120 for 3.
Has there anything been said about the fact that they've brought sort of part of the lockdown back in that area of the country, that's going to affect the test matches?
Well, presumably not, because they're in their own bubble, as it were.
I think as long as they maintain the bubble. I've got a lovely bit of audio that my mate sent me, and it's from Suffolk Radio. When they first started talking about bubbles and things, and we phoned up the radio host, it was very Alan Partridge, just going, I can't understand, could you explain it to me, the bubble? I mean, can I get my neighbour Roger around? Can he come round for a beer? Can he bring his missus? I can't take to his missus, so it don't really matter to me. All this stuff. It's hilarious. Classic local radio. Here comes Joshua Little, left arm over the wicket. Glorious sunshine, the Aegeus bowl. Bairstow gets a short delivery, swivel pulls it down to backward square and takes the simplest of singles.
What do you say when you go to the IRE dressing room at the end of this?
Anyone fancy a Guinness?
Well, apart from that.
God,
I mean, you know you've been battered.
Yeah, it just looks like an enormous. Well, let's get it right. England, for all that it's a weakened team, you could say, England are world champions, and Ireland are a moderate team on the international stage. So, you know, with the best will in the world, it's not a surprising result.
No, it's not. It's not. But it's a bit depressing. You want it to be a bit closer, don't you? I mean, you have to believe.
Yeah, I'd love that. This is pulled away by Billings this time to same fielder on the backward square leg boundary. And they're through for another single.
You probably find a load of cliches like, you know, I'm proud of each and every one of you, blah blah blah. we've got to build from this, we've got to learn from it, you know.
Yeah.
All that stuff. I mean, what else do you say? You're shite, you fucking bastard.
But that's what I mean in the dressing room.
You bunch of fucking gougers.
In the dressing room.
Out of it.
In your heart of heart, in the
fucking
dressing room,
knackers.
you know. It's like when you play on a Saturday afternoon, you come in the dressing room, you know you got fucking battered, and you know you were shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm afraid so. Bairstow, 74 not out. He gets the ball outside off stop. Oh, that would have gone straight to second slip as he edges that one, and it goes just fine of the man at third man as well. 4 runs. On Bairstow century watch.
800 years of oppression, and this is all you fucking
Look,
do against
like
the bastards.
I never want to sound patronising as an England fan, but the gulf between these two sides is enormous. There's no getting away from that, really.
It's not. Oh yeah. You know.
But equally, like Bear, I would love it to be closer. And again, I don't want to sound patronising even saying that. I'd love it to be, but it just ain't. Like if Ireland can put 300 on the board in one of these games, then yeah, maybe we've got a proper game. All right, Little is in. I think a slightly slower delivery that Bairstow had to wait on, and all that meant was that he smashed it in front of square on the offside, threw it back to cover from a front foot position. That was an extraordinary, brutal shot, and it's gone for 4 more.
2 + 2 is on
Right, he needs to score 18 off the next 6 deliveries to get that record. Bairstow century watch. Can he do it? I think it's just going to be just beyond him, I think.
How many runs do England get in 20 overs? 130. What are we going on at the moment?
Oh, well, 8 and over.
8 and over.
More than 8 and over. A slower ball bouncer from Little. That's scuppered Bairstow. He looks really annoyed.
Do you think he knows?
He got in position really early and was just... The arms were coming through the shot and he had to check himself because he spotted it was a slower ball. He is, however, the fastest 3,000 ODI runs, or joint fastest with Joe Root in terms of innings. 72 he's taken. That's interesting. Bairstow, Root both 72, Graham Gooch 76, Jason Roy 76. Little again. That's another slightly slower ball bouncer, and he's done Bairstow again. Bairstow attempting a short arm pull, and I think that's done for his chances of getting the fastest century. God, if looks could kill.
But do you think he knows?
He'll know that I think he's the sort of bloke who will know approximately how fast it is. I mean, all these things have happened really recently as well, and he'd have been in the team. I think he would, Nestor's. I think he'd have a little idea, but he must be close, even if he doesn't know it precisely. Here comes Little to complete the 16th over. Left arm over the wicket, and he's been caught behind, swishing at one, and he's given him a good send-off. He's given him a send-off. What could he possibly be saying? So there will be no record for Bairstow. There will be no century for Bairstow. But there's an extended conversation between Little and Bairstow. Maybe he is the sort of man who will glance you in a pub after all.
I'd love to know what he just said then.
But he did.
It was definitely along the lines, take that, you fucking bastard, or something.
Oh, it was brilliant. I love that. I love to see that. I mean, Ireland are losing this game really easily, and but great to see a bit of competitive spirit there. And Josh Little, clearly a competitor. All these top level sportsmen have that competitive nature about them. And he gave him a send-off, and he's every right to do so. And then Bairstow probably turned around and said, "What are you saying, you muppet? We're caning you."
He probably went.
Yeah, exactly. I've just scored 82.
Went unlucky there, Johnny.
I've scored 82 off 30 odd deliveries, and we're about to blast you away in 28 overs.
I thought you played really well, and he's going, "Oh, thanks, mate. That was a really good ball that got me out. Those ones before it were fantastic as well. I'll see you afterwards." Josie Oki says, "Who's commentating for the Pakistan series? Is Hatif Nawaz commentating?"
Well, I'm trying to coax him. I do know he's working for the opposition for the second and third tests.
We've got opposition.
Yeah. They're not much opposition.
In the revolutionary cricket commentary space, I can't imagine.
No, in the real space.
No, I know.
And he was going to ask Mountford whether it was okay if he came on our show out of courtesy, and I haven't heard from him since. So I don't know what that says about Mountford. Or what
That'll
he
be
says
a
to
no
Mountford.
then. Or that'll be well.
Quite possibly.
Or he didn't ask him.
Yeah,
Anyway.
maybe.
Doesn't matter, does it?
No, not really. I'm trying to get to Dr. Kashif as well. He's always entertaining.
Oh, he is. Yeah.
Trying
Is he going to give us? Is he going to give us any more money?
I don't know. He hasn't answered our WhatsApp message yet either. He is a doctor.
Is this a common theme with you, Bear?
It's not just me.
The phone goes dead at the other end.
It does occur to me that he runs a hospital in Texas, Houston, and there might be a few more things to worry about. Well, he runs a medical. He's a medical insurance guy, an American.
Well, he'll be. Well.
Yeah. So I wonder if his attention is elsewhere.
The hospital side of the business will be doing very well at the moment. The insurance bit, not so well.
Well, exactly. And we're also trying to get a hold of actually an interesting guy who I met through Rafat, a guy called Faisal Sharif, who used to be at the ICC and administrated from there. He went to administrate in Zimbabwe cricket.
Wow.
And I'm sure he's got some tales to tell.
I was going to suggest Peter Oborne, but you wouldn't be able to cope with the technology.
We've done Peter Oborne twice. Oh, we're trying to get a
No, but it's Zoom.
Yeah. Oh, well, I don't know.
So it is Billings who's going to be facing up to this Camphor over, and he's playing a very correct defensive stroke from the crease back up the track. There is no run. They've dispensed with the slip, but there is a kind of a wide fourth slip type position. Wonder if they're thinking that the pitch is just slowing up a tad. They thought it might do. It's a pitch that's been used twice in 3 days now, isn't it?
Yeah. You know what? I got saved there, but in fact the TV is marginally behind the betting.
Angled in, that's beaten him all ends up. Did he get an inside edge to that? And if he did, it's been dropped behind by Lorcan Tucker. Certainly the Mardy look on Camphor's face would suggest that took the inside edge. I haven't seen any signal from the umpire, but I've not seen the umpire, so I can't tell you whether it's buys or not.
That seemed to come back quite a long way, didn't it?
No, I don't think it did take the bat. Actually, looking at it, I don't think it's been credited with any extra runs, so that must be buys. But anyway, it sort of reared off a length, and that angle that Camphor makes for himself by coming wide of the crease, and it just went through Billings's gate. Billings gate.
Boom.
You like that one?
I do. I really like that.
All cannoned away off his iron-like gloves. This is tucked into the leg side, fielded by that man at that short mid-wicket position. Run. So 133 for 4. I mean, maybe I was being too blasé about this, saying, "Oh, England are strolling this." If 4 wickets down, if you lose another couple
I was
quickly,
just thinking that. If you were playing a better side, 4 wickets down in the 17th over wouldn't look very clever, would it? Well, would it? I don't know. Ball gets very soft at this point, usually onto the 3rd and 4th string bowlers.
This is where you'd expect Captain Morgan to come in and play that steadying innings. Full delivery and driven beautifully by Billings, beating the man at that short mid-wicket position, beating the man at mid-on, and it races away to the boundary for one of these.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, see now you'd have Stokes and Morgan in now, wouldn't you? And with Butler to come still.
I don't think you'd be batting Butler lower than 6.
Okay.
On the international, would you? Anyway, it's not those guys, it's these guys. And it's 137 for 4. And one of those guys is Billings, and he defends it back up the track. He's treating most balls with the respect that they are due, I would say, Billings. And again, it's so hard for him because he always knows he's on borrowed time almost, doesn't he? He always knows that like when the squad gets back to full strength, he's likely to be not in the 11.
Yeah.
And so you always think, damned if you do, damned if you don't. He's a very fine player, though. I do like him.
Yeah, I agree.
17 at a runner ball he's got today. Here comes Curtis Camphor bowling to him. And it's on the stumps and defended once more and fielded again by that fella at short mid-wicket. End of the 17th. It's 137 for 4.
That fella.
The fella.
The guy.
Your man. You know, your man.
No!
Nestlers. I'm just going to the fridge while you read some messages.
Okay.
Okay. I like it. I'll be going to the fridge shortly when you get back.
Jonesy Oki, I've been banned from talking about it, and then you put a tweet up. Mark Zip won't be happy.
What's
And that's all I can say.
Talking about what?
On chat. I'll do it on chat.
Okay.
You're Gorilla Cricket, aren't you?
Yeah. Oh, Morgan.
Right.
There you go.
Owen Morgan. Does he now have the most ODI runs for England? 7,404 he has. Little's going to bowl to him, and Morgan just defends this from the crease. It's the first ball he's received, isn't it?
It is indeed. And he batted, I believe, reasonably okay the other night. I didn't really see it. I fell asleep during the highlights on the sofa.
It's always a joy. One of life's little joys, isn't it? Falling asleep in front of the telly.
Mate, I do it all the time these days.
Yeah, me too. Unfortunately, sometimes I wake up at about 5 in the morning. That's not so great. Little is in again. This is smacked by Morgan, but straight to the fielder at short extra, and he's gone for a 2-ball duck.
Oh, shitty shit. This is really fucking bad.
No.
On your bike, mate.
Well, there's me saying two things that might prove to be wrong. One, England are strolling this, and two, that Morgan's going to come in and play a steadying innings. He's played the shot of the most callow batsman you could imagine there. He's only his second ball. Yes, it was a bit short of a length. Yes, he could have possibly hit it any way he liked, but he knew there was a man there, and he hit it straight to him. And that is very irresponsible, I would suggest.
Yeah, indeed. And England do find themselves in a bit of bother with 137 for 5. I guess the one thing they've got on their side is that they've still got 30 odd overs left to get these, and if they just want to wheedle it over the line, they've got plenty of time to do that too.
The overs are not going to be the issue, are they?
No, the overs definitely aren't going to be the issue.
It suddenly's got interesting.
Yeah, well, good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Oh, I suppose Moeen's in now, isn't he?
Oh.
God, have we got Moeen in at 7 in this side, crikey. That's pretty good going, isn't
I mean, whoever we bat, we do bat deep, don't we?
Yeah.
You know, Dave Willey has opened on quite a regular basis for both Yorkshire and Northants in one-day cricket, isn't he? Or certainly 2020 cricket. So.
True. I suppose Saj Mahmood and who else have we got in this?
Saqib Mahmood.
Saqib, sorry.
Yeah.
And who else? Adil Rashid, he can bat. Bloody hell. Yeah, you're right. Sorry. Well, it's this man comes to the crease.
Our beard shouldn't touch. Move over, AMLO. I like it too much. Move over, AMLO. You're one hairy dish. I love unconditionally. It's Moeen Ali.
Yeah, and he comes to the crease with England in a small amount of strife. 137 for 5, chasing 2-1-3 for victory. He gets a straight ball from Josh Little, which he defends back at the track. And still, the sun shines in Southampton, but not on England's captain, who was out for an ignominious 2-ball duck, smashing the ball. And it was a bit of a long hop, actually. I can see why he wanted to give it the kitchen sink. But if you're going to kitchen sink it, make sure you find the gap, and he didn't. He hit it straight to the fielder.
Well, either that or hit it to the ground.
I think it was that man Camphor again, wasn't it, the catcher?
I think so.
Here comes Little again, over the wicket to the left-handed Moeen, who's up on his toes, playing it elegantly, as is his wont, into the offside, and there is no run. So a small target for England that's making a bit of a mountain out of that molehill of a target. 2 balls left of the 18th over, remains 137 for 5. Moeen yet to get off the mark, having faced 2 deliveries. And Sam Billings wondering what on earth is going off out there at the other end. Oh, at top edge.
Word.
He's going to be out for a duck as well, as the keeper runs round and takes a pretty simple catch. So Moeen Ali also goes for a duck, and England, I think, officially are now reeling at 137 for 6.
Fuck off! Just fuck off!
What is going on?
On your bike, mate.
Well, bugger me gently, but I don't believe in such a thing as a commentator's curse. But me and my big mouth, talking about England absolutely strolling this, and why was he giving Johnny Bairstow the send off and he got him out and all that sort of stuff. Well, look at it now. We have added 2 wickets to the score since then. Both of them for Ducks. Both of them experienced players. Moeen Ali, the latest to go, off just 3 balls for his quacker. Owen Morgan, equally culpable, terrible shot, finding short extra cover, trying to smash a short one. And England still need 76 runs.
What?
And only 4 wickets left. And here comes... I'll play the Willie jingle. I haven't heard it for ages. That'll cheer me up.
Okie dokie. Goes a little bit like this.
You think the people would have had enough of Willie?
Oh no, the other one.
Oh right.
Willie, listen, gorillas, and you'll eat.
I'll find that one for you.
Can't even get a jingle to cheer me up. Yeah, a loose shot from Moeen Ali. The batsmen have crossed, so Sam Billings is back on strike for this final ball of the 18th over, and it's his job now to steer England to this modest total. He allows this one to pass through. Josh Little has, is that 3 wickets he's got now?
Yeah, 3 for 46.
Yeah, 3 for 46 from 6 overs. So he's been expensive, as have most of the bowlers. The latest one, yeah, I'm afraid we're looking to pull it top edge, and keeper Lorcan Tucker making no mistake with that catch.
That was skipper and vice skipper both gone for naught. It's not very good leading, is it? Let's try this.
You think the people
no, that's that one.
had enough of...
Oh, pardon me. And let's try this one. Oops. This one.
Mutton dagger, old blind
Is that
bob,
the one?
hanging Johnny, fishing rod, tallywhacker, pocket rocket, one-eyed trouser trout. Ding dong, ankle spanker, pork sword, engine cranker, Harry, hot dog, Davy Crockett, let them all hang out. Pet names for genitalia, you know the girls think of them and you gotta love them. Pet names for genitalia, there's always something silly about little Willie.
I presume you meant that one there.
Yeah, oh, I love that one, particularly ankle spanker.
Yeah.
So David Willey averages 18 and a half, just a bit better than that in ODI cricket, so he's definitely no mug, and as we said, he's opened the batting for the various counties he's represented. Nearly caught down the leg side first ball. Should be given a wide. He's got nothing on it, hopefully.
Yeah, he hasn't.
It has been given a wide.
These two just need to chill out and take it over the line.
I mean, the difference in the scoring rates is immense, isn't it? Ireland were 52 for 4 after 18, and England 138 for 6. Young, who's come back into the attack, angles one across. The left-handed Willie, and he allows it to pass through to the keeper. A little bit of movement after it pitched. That one will be getting a bit of, well, possibly be a reverse swing. Is the pitch abrasive enough to get any of that?
Any rain for Duckworth Lewis?
I wonder what the Duckworth Lewis. Well, one imagines that we're way ahead of the Duckworth Lewis target, even though we've lost a fair few wickets. Here comes Young again over the wicket to left-handed Willie, who defends it from the crease to the offside, and there is no run. 138 for 6 it is now. That target is still 213. There's an impassive looking Owen Morgan. I wonder what's going on inside that little head of his. Probably not what we can see on the face, which looks fairly calm. It's also very difficult, isn't it, to come off what happened last year and try to generate that same intensity again. This is short from short and almost down the leg side, but not quite.
Well, yeah, I mean, maybe
Willie ducks under it. There's no run.
Yeah, maybe more so. In
different bunch of players, though.
Yeah, it is, but I think
you got a good few who's got something to prove. Absolutely, yeah. But it's going back to what I was saying earlier. What's the plan? I'm sure there is a plan. There's always a plan.
But I mean, I think maybe it's slightly harder to play ODIs not in front of a crowd.
No, I don't think you can blame the lack of a crowd.
No. But I mean, in terms of intensity.
Yeah.
Whereas in test matches, I think, you know, a lot of test players. Oh, what? There's a no ball. They're calling no ball. Why not?
Oh yeah. So are we now in the first crop of matches where the no ball is automatically called by the third umpire? Is that correct?
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we saw one earlier on, and weirdly enough, it happened. Oh, yeah, the one before happened when there was also a wide, so it's quite confusing. So there'd been a wide, it had gone for 5 wides, and then all of a sudden there was a free hit signal. Anyway, it is a free hit, so David Willey will have a golden opportunity to get off the mark here. They're not allowed to alter the field because the batsman didn't cross. Pretty sloppy stuff from Young. He's bowled a wide, a decent delivery, and then a no ball. He bangs it in, and he does a big waft at this David Willey. Doesn't matter whether he's got anything on it or not, because he can't be out like that.
There's a lot of
doesn't get off the mark.
There's a lot of "We're doomed." The collapse is on Twitter.
Any of that from Woy Woy Pond by any chance?
Oh yes, and Spangly Sai says, as a wise man once said, "Doom."
Spangly Sai. I haven't heard that name mentioned for a little while. Welcome back.
Pirate Badshaw says, "Deploy the euphoria."
Is that some sort of drug?
He's euphoric.
This is defended from the crease one, Willie, and all of a sudden the Ireland fielders look bang up for it, on their toes, buzzing around like wasps round a jam jar.
Spicy Golden Duck has sent us a picture of Twickenham Cricket Club match on the green this afternoon. He was watching that and listening to our commentary.
Oh, how jolly pleasant.
There's a lovely scene of an English cricket village game going on.
Willie faces up once more and, not for the first time, defends back up the track from the crease. 1 ball left in this, the 19th over. England 139 for 6 in pursuit of this modest target of 213. In front of no men and their dogs.
Indeed.
Young run up now. In he chugs. Race is caught in the pavilion door. This is driven quite nicely by William. A little bit aerially, and man was interested at extra cover for a little while, but it's reached the bat. Well timed.
And if you kids can't listen, then you bound to see the way you get shot for crossing a boundary, crossing a boundary.
I'm going to go and get a beer.
Remind yourself. Yeah, that was just for. Never in danger of being caught, although it was up shot, wasn't it, Nestlers? But
you went all underwater then, sorry.
Did I?
Yeah.
Am I better? Am I okay? Can you hear me?
And you've frozen. No, you're smiling. Wave your hand, do something.
No, hello. Here. So Willie gets off the mark with that boundary. A nice shot through extra cover, and England move on to 143 for 6. 20th over to be bowled by Joshua Little. This is driven a little bit airily by Billings. 1 bounce before it mid off, and Billings can do his credit no end of good here by steering England home, if that's what he is destined to do.
Yeah, I mean, what did he get in the last one? 60 odd, wasn't it?
I can't remember, I'm afraid.
Yeah. Neither can I. That's why I was fishing for it.
Right, this is defended into the offside, and nearest hint of a single there. They very quickly decide against it.
I thought it was 67. I thought it was. He got in the last game. I don't know why I'm picking it out. I'm sure it was 67. And it sounded like quite a good innings. And England, to be fair, it looked like England got themselves in a little bit of a bind there. They were 80 odd for 4, weren't they? And before closing it out.
Billings 67 not out, Morgan 36 not out. Yes. Here comes Little. Again, it's across the Billings, who is watchful, thinking this is not the time to take undue risk. It's probably going to be a bit of a period of consolidation here, as Billings just tries to steer England home without the need to revert to it.
Oh my word!
There was not going to be the issue. 70 runs only. Goes a little one. Or left with all waftings, and that can't have been far away from the out. Would have been so filthy dirty with himself after that, because it was very wide and he chased it. And this is where you just need a good head on your shoulders.
Well, exactly. You got oodles and oodles of time left, haven't you? So you just got to get on through.
But equally, it's that drivable length, that almost half volley length.
Yeah.
Looks lovely when it gets creamed through the covers. Not so good if you nick off. How's Jake Vick tell you?
Well, exactly. That's very true. They're putting another man in there.
Yeah, well, maybe these are catching positions now, you see. No slips in play anymore. This is across Billings, and he decides to leave it well alone. So, yeah. I suspect we'll see a significant slowing up of the England run rate, which has been at or around 8 for much of this innings. It's probably dipped well below that in the last couple of overs. But I wouldn't be all to see it's just, go at 2 and over and turgidly jog towards the total.
Well, that looks the way to go now, doesn't it? I mean, if winning is the thing. We have to change at the end of this over, aren't we?
We are.
This is driven with their timing by Billings. It was a full delivery across him, and he rather under-edged it almost up to mid-on. And there's no run, and it is 143 for 6, with England still requiring 70, but that's another problem, and can Bill do it? Now we're having a change. I'm taking my leave now. I'm going to have a curry.
Nice. Well, you have a nice
if
curry.
If we're still here in 20 overs, I'll see you then. If not, I'll see you in another room.
Okie dokie.
As always.
See you in a bit.
See you in a bit.
Laters.
And to you, Ness, as you're leaving us for 10 overs, aren't you?
I'm off.
Well, go and celebrate, I think. And I'm being joined by Al and Tony.
I leave you alone for 10 overs, and what happens?
Well,
it's all fallen apart.
It has fallen apart a little bit.
Yeah.
Shocking shots, by the way.
Yeah, they were quite
Nawi
poor
and
shots, weren't they?
Morgan, awful.
Yeah. I can't agree more. Willie is going to face up to Young, and he defends it up to mid-off, and there's no run. They just got to settle down now, haven't they?
Yeah, there's 30 overs left.
Exactly. To get 70 runs or whatever it is. 70 dead on, isn't it? You've been off watching the FA Cup final?
No. I was just going about some family duties and staying in touch with the cricket as I went.
No, okey-dokey. Young is in, and Whitley defends. A lot of moving parts, but he defends it up to mid-off, and there's no run.
So I believe Arsenal have won the FA Cup final.
Is it over now?
Against, I saw
it is apparently over.
10-man Chelsea.
Yeah.
Bloke sent off for literally nothing.
Really?
I despair. Yeah, it was complete nonsense.
Oh, tell me. Nestle didn't want to talk about it because he was on air.
Yeah, I haven't seen out, but apparently there's a lot which is contentious.
Oh, really? Oh, dear, oh, dear. Well, that's what I have bloody thingamajiggy for. DRS, not DRS. Depends on the leg side and there's no run. What was it?
VAR.
VAR, that's it.
You got your sports confused there, Bear.
It's the same bloody thing, man.
It's another TL. It's all these TLAs.
Yes.
They get confusing.
Oh, really? So do explain. So what happened? What? Couple of...
It was just a 50-50 tackle. He kept his foot down. He played the ball. The Arsenal guy fell over his leg. I'll tell you in a moment.
Oh, that's a nice pull down to long leg. And a man is going to get round. Good bit of fielding. It's just little down there.
Fell over, making it look like he'd been shot. And then for some reason the referee gave a yellow and then changed it to a red. Now, I only saw that on the BBC highlights, so I don't know if it was a second red, a second yellow. But it wasn't even a yellow card tackle. I mean, if that's a foul, then
I don't know what game football's coming
anyway.
to.
But I've fallen further out of love with it after stupid decisions like that.
Well, yeah.
But anyway, back here, I'm not falling out of love with England, but I have to say,
you love them a little bit
making an uphill struggle of what should have been a cakewalk.
Well, they are. There's a little bit of, pomposity about it, I suppose. England, whilst Bairstow was there, he thought it was all going to be over very quickly, and Ireland, to their credit, brought it back. That's guided by Billings down towards third man, who get himself a single.
But again, well, it's easy to criticise those two dismissals, and we will. But nonetheless, both of them were the ball not quite coming onto the bat as quickly as they wanted it to. That's why Morgan didn't get over his shot, and Moeen Ali mistimed his. Now, I'm not taking anything away from the bowlers, but run score. Look at the scores across the two games. Run scoring and the number of wickets fallen. Run scoring's not been straightforward.
No, it hasn't. That's true. Into the ribs of Willie, and he just knocks it out on the leg side and he'll get himself a single. True, and the thing is, when you're new to the crease, you have to play with your convictions, and obviously anyone stands a chance of getting out when you're new to the crease because everything's not quite working right. So one day that flies into the stands for 6, the next day you top edge it down the long leg for whatever, and the same with Morgan's shot. On a day where you're in.
What I do think is if England get a wicket, if Ireland were to get another wicket round about now, England are 7 down, then it gets really, really interesting. A lot depends on this partnership, I think.
Well, you say that, but Adil Rashid is a fair bat. He could take us home from here.
He is.
He's next man.
But then you've got a bit of scoreboard pressure and a bit of nerves.
Well, you have, but you've also got 27 overs. You could literally play Sunday afternoon game and just take 2 singles and over and you're home.
Time to step away from the bar, especially if this bloke's got a glass in his hand.
Well, Willie's going to face up, and Joshua Little is going to continue into his pads, clips it in the leg side, straight to mid wicket, no run. I think they're more than capable. There's no scoreboard pressure here in terms of runs. There's only wickets pressure. But if you trust yourself not to get out, and there's no forcing you to hit 1-4 and over, or go along at 5 and over, it's quite easy to just knock 2 singles and over. Even playing shit shots like that, as Woody tries to pull the bat out of the way, somehow nudges it down to third man whilst doing it, and gets himself a single.
Yeah, he used to be a regular opener in T20s, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Willie? Didn't always come off, I have to say.
No.
In fact, from recollection, it would not come off more often than it did, but when it did, it was quite spectacular.
It was, yeah. I remember did he get a ton opening or something very quickly?
Well, I'm thinking county cricket as well as international cricket.
No, I'm thinking in county cricket, didn't he? I mean, wasn't that what brought him to prominence in the for England? That's defended. That's troubled the chin of Billings there. It's well defended. A decent ball by Josh Little, and it's no runs. It goes out to cover.
Well, the key is that he doesn't need to go off.
Well, that's what I mean. There's no scoreboard pressure here in terms of runs per over. It's purely down to wickets. And if you think, oh shit, we're in trouble, I think at this level as a batsman, having to be got out with a white ball is a lot harder than trying to make someone make a mistake. Defended out in the offside, nicely timed by Billings. Keeps man come across on point, but the sweeper on the cover boundary fields it, and they will get 1-4-8-4-6. Billings 19, Winnie is on 7. And Little has 3 for 48. It's good bowling, is it not?
I'm interested about who's gonna, who's bowlers 4 and 5 here.
Well, yeah. Little is in, and it's defended back to him by Willie, and he throws at the stumps, misses them. I don't know what that was for, and there's no run. Isn't Georgie Dockrell in the side? I know he got drawn into the squad, didn't he, for someone's injured. He's not actually in the side today.
Yeah, he was in the squad but not in the side today.
They
tried
McBride, and they've had
Little, Craig Young. You got Gareth Delaney bowls. He's an all-rounder. He bowls leg breaks and googlies. You got Sterlo.
That's pulled. And is there anyone out there? Well, no.
It doesn't matter.
Not that far out. There's no crowd. That's gone way, way, way back into the stand. Played it on the angle. Over the wicket to the left-hander was Little, and it was just pulled away over the deep square leg boundary for 6.
Messi
went
Jazz says
way back.
if there's one thing we learned in the World Cup, it's that England get confused when they have to chase a target of less than 300. Neymar Butlins says no disrespect to Ireland, but fill in the blanks here, etc., etc., etc. They're doing all right. Diana Patterson says it is amazing to see your internet troubles live. It's lucky you have such a small country to live in, to run wires in. Imagine having the second largest in the world, much without proper roads as we have here. You're in Canada, aren't you, Diana? I think, from memory.
Yeah. Yeah, the internet's being a bit rough today. That's into the pads of Billings, who clips it out to deep mid wicket, and there will be a single.
And Pirate Badshar, Koshikudaki, remember, collapse in Japanese, unexpected collapse in the language of sumo. But he says, don't forget Simi Singh hasn't bowled yet. Quite right too, Pirate Badshar.
No, I was all I was saying is that they put their eggs in a basket.
Yes, well, they have to. I mean, they've got to try and get England out, haven't they? I mean, look at the equation: 27.5 overs to get 60 runs, less than 60 runs, 58 runs. They've got to get the wickets. That's into the pads. Not sure Willie got any bat on that. I don't think reasonably go a reasonable pace down to long leg. Yeah, it was off the bat. There must have been a bit of inside edge onto pad, I think. He moves on to 14 and the score to 156. Any more tweets?
Yeah, Spicy Golden Duck says we had socially distanced tickets for the Oval tomorrow until the effing Bradmans in number 10 did another Johnson and Flintoff that all up. We will be watching the live stream of it instead on a laptop inside a pub, crowded with braying maskless tools.
Yeah, this is all a bit confusing, isn't it? What's going on in the world?
It is not going well up. It's not going down well up here. We'll explain in a sec.
That's clipped into the leg side nicely by Billings out to deep mid wicket. They seem to have settled on a few singles and over. Unless there's something really bad, and they'll take some boundaries, which is all they need to do. And there's no run. Carry on, Al. So what's going on?
Well, it's the sense of that. You can. In Greater Manchester, you can go to a pub, you can go to a restaurant, you can go to a shop, you can go to a gym, you can ride on a bus and a train, you can go to an office, but you can't go to your family.
I know, it's weird, isn't it? Driven, that's a nice shot by Willie.
Beautiful
through
shot.
The offside. Pierces the gap. They've got three men covering on the umbrella, but he's pierced it between cover and point. And it's gone all the way to the boundary. 4-5. That was a nice shot. Pierced the gap nicely. But I thought everyone was on lockdown, so you can still do that even though they brought in this lockdown again.
Yep.
Oh really? That's bullshit.
Yep.
That's insane.
You just can't meet other people's families inside.
That's weird. Oh well, I'm not sure he timed that perfectly, did David Willey, but it was on that line and he just swished through the line. Decided, let's try and get this over and done with quicker than what I was saying. Over the top of the infield and out to the cover boundary for yet another 4.
It's Nissan She. It's Nissan She.
Nice shot.
Yeah.
With a little bit of aerial.
Yeah, he's that sort of sucking a lemon face that he's making makes me think it might have been a bit closer than he wanted it to be.
Well, yeah, probably. But he got enough of it. Well, he stopped his shot there. It looked like he was going to drive, and then realised he wasn't quite at it. Stopped his shot, timing, got it past mid wicket. There is no mid on, so mid off had to come chase it back, and they got back for 2.
Yeah, to be honest, it's in terms of where he placed the shot in the end, it couldn't have probably been much more of a better result for him. To be honest,
perfect place, wasn't it? No one there. There's the sun starts to set, and the worms. Well, these worms are in no danger of having sex. Let's put it that way. They're diverging.
How did you get that? How did you lose that job in the Natural History Unit of the BBC?
Well, I know someone who does. He's a PhD in nematodes. No, is it nematodes? Yeah, I think it's nematodes. Single cell or something.
Oh, changing the bowling.
Indeed. Well, this man got clumped by Johnny B earlier, but obviously Johnny B's not there, so why not give him another go? It's this man.
He's Andy McBride, he's Andy McBride. Now some say he's a genius and others say inside. He's handy with the ball, he holds them all enthralled. He's Andy McBride, Brine.
And the first ball, Billings just defends out into the offside, and there's no run. He's got to calm down a bit.
I think it's a nice move. You know, Willie's starting to try and go after some of the quicker bowlers.
Indeed. Tosses that up outside the off stump, no turn, on the back foot, drives it nicely, but straight at cover. And no run. 167 for 6, 43 required. No, 47 required. Jesus, get your maths right. Driven nicely timed by Billings. Not too much effort. There is a long on down there, so I only get the one.
I do hope adversity brings opportunity, don't forget. I mean, if you look at it from Sam Billings' perspective right now, sorry Al, he's had 2 stages now to really press his case, which had been sort of disappearing into the distance, hadn't it, some while ago?
Well, it had been in the ODI side. He was still knocking around the T20, wasn't he? I mean, he was closer to the T20 side, I think, than he was the ODI side. But we do have there's a lot of people, but not so many places, you know. There's a lot of talent knocking about. McBride is around the wicket to David Willey. It's flat and reasonably quick. And he goes back to the stumps and just defends it back down the track. There's no run. David Willey the same. I mean, he was bound for the World Cup and then not. It's defended into the leg side and there's no run. And that must have hurt, man.
Yep, Jabber and Rana is with us, along with a number of interesting pictures. Victor Vincent Vicky is also with us on Crick Tracker. Seems to be a fan of David Willey.
Ah, well, yes.
They're about to be a fan of in the last couple of games.
Indeed. He plays that ball round the corner to deep square leg, and that's the end of the over for a single. Retains the strike. Has Willey played in the IPL? I don't think he has he?
I think so.
Has he?
Oh, I thought he had, yeah.
Okay. Be interested to know what his IPL record is. That's why
good to see Noddy Holder as a cameraman there. That long shot.
Oh yeah.
Well, you know, he only gets royalties at Christmas. He's got to make he's got to make work, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He's only played 3 matches in the IPL. To answer your question.
Okay. And what was scores?
I will give me just a moment. And his highest score is 0.
Oh, well, there you go.
Which might explain a lot. Let's see. Taking 2 wickets at an average of nearly 50. Best of 1 for 24. Got him Pooney.
Well, he thought about coming down the track. We have a new bowler, and he has come onto bat, bowl. And his first ball was pretty flat around the wicket to the left-handed Willey. And defended for no run. Around the wicket again, bowls into the pads though. Clipped easily round down to deep square leg, and there is no run.
Single.
Single, sorry, that's what I meant. It's been a long day, man. I have to sit here all the entire time.
I know.
And here is.
Let's have a jingle for him.
Yeah, just saying something. Ooh, baby, I like it raw. Yeah, baby, I like it raw. Ooh, baby, I like it raw. Yeah, baby, I like it raw. Shimmy, shimmy, y'all, shimmy, yeah, shimmy, yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's too short. Billings can't find a gap on the leg side, and there'll only be a single. Sorry, no, a dot ball. Man, my brain's going to mush, mate. Dear. Tossed up and played back to the bowler with no run. The thing is, what I find with ODIs, I don't get the. You just don't get the manoeuvrings you get in Test cricket. It's so much more formulaic. and it holds my attention less. Down the track comes Billings and just clips it around the corner, where Paul Sterling fields does a terrible throw back to the bowler after they'd already made it, and they get through for a single. Do you not find that?
That's quite a big question for between balls of a spin bowler's over.
Well, you know,
can we hold it to the end of the over?
Well,
and
it's a conversation we can carry on throughout time. You know, it's just a conversation to be had. On the back foot is Willie, and plays it out to cover, and there is no run.
I enjoy both formats, all formats.
I enjoy
all three
them.
formats, Wheeler. But I find ODIs and to a certain extent T20s a bit more disposable. They don't seem to live as long in the memory, with the huge and honourable exception of certain games like those in one or two of those in the World Cup. But no, they don't. But I think that's also a generational thing, Bear. You know, if you're of a certain age and you've grown up watching cricket, then Test cricket is the ultimate. If you've grown up in nothing but the age of the shorter form of the game, you likely will lean more that way and feel somewhat differently about it.
Yeah,
I think there's room for all.
I know, I totally agree with you. And the thing is, I find with ODI cricket is too often there isn't the result, not the result you want. That's played down too long on, and there's no run. But ideally, one day cricket is set up to have really close finishes, and it's to be exciting in that sense. And too often, the game goes away from one team or another too quickly, and therefore the result is almost an inevitability. Occasionally it goes wrong. That's heaved at by Woody, gets an inside edge, goes down to the man on 45, and there's no run.
That man you called, what did you call him? You called him a noddy holder. That's Phil Brown.
Yes.
Who's a very very famous sports photographer, particularly cricket photographer.
Clipped
from the
into
back.
leg side. Yeah, from the back, he looks like Noddy Holder. Clipped into the leg side for a single.
You won't remember, right? But I had a long chat with him in the pavilion after Middlesex's 2016. I was the drunk bloke, but there was a lot of us.
Was it a tired and emotional chat, Tony?
I was fairly tired and emotional. I think he was fine.
That's a horrible ball by O'Brien. Drops it short, gets away with it as Billings hoiks it down the deep square leg, and there'll only be one run. Totally got away with that. It was a horrible ball. Really dragged it down the leg side.
Kind of see what you're saying, Bear, about the idea that that sometimes an ODI game is over before it's begun.
Yeah, I think it's even more so with T20s. Crikey. That's a good shot by Willie, though. Rocks back. Too short. It's just all too short by O'Brien. He's trying to not concede runs, but he's just bowling too short. And the pitch is quite slow, which allows Willie to go back and pick his spot on the offside. And it runs away to the extra cover boundary for 4 runs.
1, 2, 3, 4.
He's gone back really early there. He's just waiting for it and just picked his spot.
Yeah, that was beautifully executed.
It's just too short. There's not enough air, and the other time, and that's two leg side. But he can't beat the bowler who goes across to field it, and they'll get no run. 178 for 6.
That was, by the way, Dutch Bird Kate who had tweeted Phil to let him know that we'd called him
Noddy Holder.
Gits and Gratz has said hello to you, by the way. Delighted you're with us. You'll be pleased to know we're all here respecting the social distancing, always at least 2 metres from the TV screen when watching the Gorillas, even when Tony Bishop is on. There you are. Jay Grover says, I Bear, it's a bit chess versus checkers, to use the cliche.
Yeah. I mean, the World Cup was, the end was scintillating stuff. It's, grandstand telly. But you get that often in Test cricket, I think. Played down the ground nicely by Billings on a check drive, beats a man at mid-wicket, diving across, and they'll get a single. I mean, those 3 tests we've just had against the West Indies have been really thrilling stuff. Pretty much 4 days on the trot, always ebbing and flowing.
So that series will definitely stay in the memory for all sorts of reasons that transcend those just of the game itself.
Yeah, indeed. On the back foot, played down the ground, and there's no run. As the field is straight back to the bowler, really.
I mean, yes, the quality of cricket. Yes, the fact that it was the first time we've been seeing biosecure bubble-based cricket. Yes, the magnificence of the West Indies for
coming
for
over.
joining us to play the series.
And the same for the Pakistanis who are coming after them. Let's play back down the
100%.
ground. There's no run.
But also the quality of the cricket that was played
Well,
under
yeah,
all
well, that's
those
what I mean. I mean, it's
contextual things
just
around
good
it.
stuff, isn't it? I mean, this is it. You always get a second chance in Test cricket. It's never always over. I mean, you can kind of see that result happening at the end of the third Test, but up until then, everything was to play for. That's defended into the leg side, and there's no run.
I think that what you're talking about is that you see it in other forms of sport as well. There's a recontextualization where we. Sorry, I'll break up.
Into the pads and just clipped to the leg side, no run.
We become more fixated with highlights. We become people who support players rather than teams. The way that we consume it all is starting to change.
True. Defended back to the bowl and there's no run. But I mean, like for the IPL, it's going to be what 60 games. T20s, and a lot of them will be the same game regurgitated with different players day after day after day.
Well, you mentioned earlier on about sort of innovation of Williamson regarding the way he managed his team because of understanding their strengths and limitations.
Yeah.
What you end up seeing is the same thinking by different groups of people in different coloured pajamas.
Yeah, basically. Well, we're going to have a change of bowling. He bowled 6 overs earlier, 1 for 43. And he is now coming back into the attack, and it is
you are in and out there.
You'll get to know him once the day is done. He'll make you feel so dumb. He's got all the tricks. Does Craig Young?
It's good old Angus, Tony.
Good old Angus, and for some strange reason the internet troubles we're having made Bear sound a bit like young Mr. Grace off Are You Being Served there. And he kind of spoke a bit like this. It's done very well.
Well, he's in. Ooh, and let's see, Billings, I thought he'd been hit on the pad for a minute there, but his bat turned in his hand and he managed to get it onto the ball, and it's up to mid-off and there's no run.
There he is. You're in a fish tank, Bear.
Am I in a fish tank?
You are, yeah.
The internet is really being shit today, it has to be said.
It's a countrywide issue, I think, because even mine's normally very reliable.
Well, that's what I mean. I think it's the weekend, isn't it? And it's just been strangled. Might have run it over the Test. That's played down the ground nicely by Billings off the back foot. There isn't a long on. That's really good placement. There is a mid-off, and there's a mid-wicket, but there's no one down at long on. Obviously, it's a pace bowler. And back foot drive gets him 2 runs. England move on to 181 for 6. England require 32 from 136 balls.
Another wicket makes it interesting.
It does to a degree. I think we're too close now. And the problem is there's no pressure, as we said earlier. That's clipped into the leg side and there's no run. Adil Sheikh could quite easily get 17 runs. There's no pressure to score a boundary. Just play a normal game of cricket. You can leave as much as you like, pretty much.
Kate Holdsworth, Dutch bird Kate. Did I really hear the Scouser just say recontextualisation? I mean, what the actual fuck? Was that you? Are you the Scouser in this part of the conversation there? I guess you must be.
No. I think that must be Al. Driven nicely by Billings down towards long on. There wasn't anyone there before. There is anyone there now. And therefore it gets the boundary for one of these. Billings just takes over Willie on 32 with more balls faced.
He'll be wanting to see England home for all sorts of reasons. If he can do it 2 and 2.
2 and 2.
That's
bring them home.
making a real point,
isn't it? Just. There'll be a lot more pressure in other situations, though. But it's World Championship League points, and they're in the bag. They are in the bag for MASH.
To give real context, yes.
Short. Billings.
Well backed out.
Pulls out of that. Goes through to the keeper, no run.
Anna Forsyth, by the way, says, I'm back from the football and very happy. I don't think she's actually been at the empty Wembley. Any day you can have a Guinness and watch your team win an FA Cup before noon is a good day. Well, whilst that's been happening, Middlesex ended up on about 250 something, Anna, I think, and Gubbo's on 150.
So this Bob Willis Cup, is this basically this year's county championship? This is pulled nicely by Billings. It's a good shot, nicely timed. Straight to the man at deep square leg though, and he'll only get one.
It replaces the championship with 3 divisions playing primarily playing it locally. So we're playing Middlesex, are playing Sussex, Surrey, Kent. I can't remember one of them.
Essex.
The teams, there'll be a playoff and then a semi-final and then a final. And the final will be a 5-day game at Lords. It's a first-class tournament, but it won't count as the county championship.
Okay.
So it's a thing in its own right, and assuming that we're all back to some sort of normality next year, it will stand on its own as a competition, not count as a county championship.
But given the circumstances,
So obviously we're all hoping Somerset win it.
Yeah, because Bob died, didn't he, like 6 months ago? Was it 6 months?
Yeah.
It died end of last year, wasn't it? It was sad, so sad.
Yeah.
A lovely article in the Times today with an interview with his
wife,
his widow.
Widow.
And about her artwork and about how he had planned so hard to. It's Alison Rudd, I think, is our article, well worth a read. And about how he'd spent many hours. He wasn't really a computer-based fellow. I'll stop the thought for a second.
Defended by Billings, out to the offside. Point comes in. There's no run.
Yeah, he wasn't really a man who did spreadsheets and stuff like that, but he knew what he wanted. And it was sort of edging towards an idea he was already having, to sort of reinvigorate the county championship, which he always felt was unloved and not dealt with properly by the ECB. And Bob, of course, would 100% agree with him on that. And his poor wife used to have to do all these different spreadsheets because he worked out different permutations as to how to maximise the opportunity for county cricket in a better way. And she kind of felt that because of that, he would so much relish the tournament being named after him.
Oh, it's me, isn't it? Yeah, sorry.
Sorry there.
Driven into the crowd by Billings as it's bowled across him as Little's back into the attack.
I think given the circumstances, sorry Ben, so I talked right over the top of you.
That's all right, go for it.
I was saying, given the circumstances, I think what they've managed to create in terms of a competitive tournament has been absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, it looks like. I mean, it's standard 4-day games.
Yeah.
Until the final. Sounds like fun. People will go enjoy it if they can. Guided down to third man. There's no run. As you say, I mean, there's some of the outgrounds. I mean, presumably they're playing a lot of it at outgrounds, not the big stadiums.
I think so. I think they'll try and play it wherever they can get to play it.
I mean, if there's no crowds anyway, you might as well play where it's least expensive and most pictorial, if you like. Picturesque even.
50 partnership.
Yeah, indeed. 17 for Billings, 31 for Dave Willey. He's batted well as Little comes in and nicely driven off the back foot by Willey. Straight at cover. He didn't really head off that quick. Just shy at the bowler's end. I think he would have got home and shy and missed anyway.
No, it was almost like they lulled the fielder into a sense of security and then they sort of set off.
Indeed. Little has bowled pretty well today, 3 for 56. He's in his 9th over. And he's going to come in to bowl to Sam Billings, 34-48. Looks a bit tired though. Driven nicely by Billings, but can't beat mid-on. It's pretty straight and there's no run. 25 required, 127 balls. Any more tweets?
Yes, sorry, I was just looking up something else as we go. Diana Patterson says, this is not a worldwide problem of internet weakness. You have a narrow view of the world. Canada is just fine, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, well, our English internet is playing up. Well, it's not.
I did say countrywide. You might have expanded it to the world, Bear.
I never expanded it to anywhere. You said countrywide. I thought it was just me. Driven nicely, airily, beats inside mid-off. It's a lovely shot by Billings. Nice timing. Races away to the long off boundary for one of these.
There's not one boy for me. I must have 2 or 3. I need 4.
And some brief scares earlier seem to have been put to bed. England required us, 26?
Yeah. Add 2 wickets to the score.
Yeah.
Jay Grover, in the meantime, says, I don't wish to be presumptuous and include me in we of guerrilla cricket, But I've been around youths for a while, and it heartens me to think we were called horrendous insurgents, and we're actually the biggest bunch of crotchety old duffers who ever duffed.
Well, exactly. That's the beauty of it, isn't it? I mean, insurgents, us. Well, I quite like a revolution, but I mean, the rest of you are quite a lame arse, you know.
We've got to carry you around. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, man. I'll be like Lenin. No, I don't want to be Lenin. He was Stalin. I'll be Stalin. That's clipped into the leg side.
I'm going to text both Annie and Jules now to let them know that they're honorary crotchety duffers.
Yeah, exactly. Clips into the leg side, wide of mid wicket. They get through for singles or sharp stumps.
I'm all for a revolution. I just want it to be well organised.
Well, you might not get that from me. Just go do that, yeah.
If I'm not there, start without me.
Yeah, exactly. I'll be along in a bit. It's got to have a couple of beers and some herbal replacement. We'll all be good. Pulled this time nicely by Billings, but deep square legs out there again. It'll be just the 1 run. And required has gone below 19. 19 required of 124 balls. 194 for 6. England 39 for Billings. Willie on 33.
Should I give you?
Oh, sorry. Go on.
I was going to say at the end of this over, should I give you a break from the comms, Bear?
No. I'm all right. I've got to go through till whenever. Oh, fine. I've had a couple of beers now. You know.
Okay, that's no problem.
Really?
That's defended into the offside and there's no run.
Who'd have thought? Well, Stuart Smith says, top stuff, as always, chaps. Your internet issues hasn't really changed the experience here for me in France. If we took Bairstow's knock off this total, we would have had a game. And you're quite right, Stuart. Every avenue, of course.
Yeah, we took that off. We'd have played probably quite differently. It's all ifs, ands and buts. Wow. Well, Young comes in over the wicket to Willie, who has a big mow at that and misses it.
It's going well though.
Young thinks, well, was there anything? No one really appealed. They kind of look like they want to, but they don't.
Ireland will probably just feel, again, they've had opportunity within their grasp.
But again, it's
seized it.
Yeah, well, it dropped short anyway. Even if you did get anything like it, was a bounce through to the keeper. It's just not enough runs on the board, is it? You've got to get more competitive skill. Young in, played by Willie, out behind point, down to deep backward point. It comes off the boundary and it'll be a single.
Yeah, it's not about now in the game, it's about the first 15 overs of their innings.
Exactly, and they were going along at 2.5 and over for virtually 20 overs. That kills your score,
I noticed the CPU bears down to a much more healthy 13.8%.
Well, yeah, mine's
probably delighted, aren't you?
Well, I am. Mine's dropped down to where it normally is. Exactly. There must have been something going on, load sharing or something going on earlier. Pulled nicely again by Billings. Can't beat that man at deep backward square. It's only just behind square. There's a little bit of a misfield, but they don't go for the second. There's no point in risking it. The required runs come down to 17.
JMO in Sydney says, happy to confirm internet is fine here in Sydney. Out for my 5 a.m. Sunday run. We're looking at highlights from earlier. Out for my 5 a.m. Sunday run. Nice to have the Gorillas to bring the boys home for another win. Not there yet, JMO, but
we're not there yet.
On the way.
We're due a change now, aren't we?
I just want to confirm something. 5 a.m. Sunday run.
Yeah, that's
runners get up really early. When my wife used to run, she used to get up stupidly early. She used to get up 5:30, 6 o'clock to go running. Then she'd be knackered at the end of the day, and you go, well,
I'd like to get home before you got up there.
Well, yeah, but even so, at the end of the day, you're knackered. You either sleep during the day or you conk out at the end of the day.
Diana, I'm just going to read. I'm going to read one more tweet before I get off. Then I will go.
Attempted cut by Billings,
and then I will make way
keep
for.
No run.
It's Grubby. Diana Patterson said, "So I did my maths. The UK is 2% of the area of Canada. You ain't the world, mates."
I didn't say we were. Crying out loud. Right, Al, Hendo, Nestlers. It's supposed to be now, but I don't know what's going on because Grubby's here and Al's still here. Am I disappearing?
Hang on a second.
I'll just do this ball. Little in, slower ball. Duncan to the offside and there's no run.
Al Grubby Nestlers to see us home.
Okay.
Al on ball bubble. And thank you all.
I'll take my slightly inebriated arse off your screens and see you later.
Well, it seems like we've intimidated a whole bunch of Canadians which apparently have a reputation for being the nicest country in the world. So I'm not sure what's going on there about comparisons of size with Canadians. Who would have thought? Anyway, Grubs, this is nearly all over as Little comes in, and that's just chopped into the gully area by Billings. And Gully swoops in like an eagle, and there's no run. It is, nearly all done bar the shouting.
I went off for Maruby Murray, and when I got back, I saw that Willie had, I was going to say taken things into his own hands, but you know what I mean.
And that's fairly much how we started this morning with the story of a man who had a penis on his arm for 4 months.
Yes, I heard about that.
Yep.
And I was gobsmacked.
Well, indeed. And that is a cutaway by Billings. Diving stop by point fielder there, saving boundary, and there's no run.
This could be the shortest stint I've ever done on Guerrilla Cricket.
Could be. I was hoping it was going to be like 4 to win or something like that. So, Grubby, what's your curry of choice?
Well, the one that I get from Lahore Karai is a chicken tikka karai. It's lovely.
And that's on middle stump, and again Billings drives the ball, times the ball really well, but only times it as far as mid-on, and there's no run.
I've changed mine recently.
Yep.
I go for the good old chicken tikka main dish with sagaloo, a vegetable bhaji, and the old classic plain naan.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my lovely wife Emma, and I say that loudly as she's just over there.
We love Emma.
Mrs. Grubby.
She made us get. She can't hear you. I've got headphones in. She made us get Peshwari naan, which is delightful.
Delightful. Driven to a full-length ball by Billings, but missed time straight to cover fielder. There's no run. 17 needed by England. Just the 114 balls left to do it in. That's the end of Little's spell. 10 overs. 3 for 60.
So I get some tweets in.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We've got a couple.
Well,
yeah.
Jamo in Sydney says, happy to confirm internet is fine here in Sydney. Out for my 5 a.m. Sunday run. Nice to have the Gorillas along to bring the boys home for another win. And Reverend Rushy, I haven't heard from him for years. It's all about the 3 R's, required run rate. Diana Patterson said, so I did my maths. The UK is 2% of the I think she means area, of Canada. You ain't the world, mates. I don't know what that's about.
Canadians being Canadians.
People getting hung up on countries, flags and borders. I mean, I don't give a shit. It's all just lines on dirt.
It's not even that.
That's all it is. Lines on dirt.
It is going to be Young who's going to continue his 7th over, and that's a full-length ball just on off stump, and Willie drives that out to mid-off, and there's no run.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are just on a rock floating in space.
Pale blue dot.
Pale blue dot, indeed.
Pale blue dot.
Carl Sagan.
Indeed. As Young comes in for the second ball of the over, and that is pulled away one-handed by Willie, and there is a fielder underneath it, but unless he's the giant from Jack and the Beanstalk, he ain't getting that. 6 runs. That was quite the one-handed hook shot from Willie.
Oh, it is.
I was going to do him a disservice there because I thought for a minute he'd top edge that, but he didn't. He
absolutely, he's absolutely smashed it. Both batsmen on 40. A testament to the innings that Willie's played. Very much a successful audition for Willie these last 2 games, and that is back of a length again on Willie's hip. And he turns that to a deep point, who runs in and just dribbles the ball towards the wicket-keeper, and Willie moves on to 41. England need just 10 more runs. They're 203 for 6. And all bar Malinga-like spell of death bowling here from Young is not going to prevent the inevitable from taking place. under partially sunny Southampton skies. Young in, and Billings pulls that ball away, and there's no way for the deep backward square to get round to that. That's 4 more runs. We're not going to be long. Billings moves on to 44. The stats probably won't show, but he's played really quite well. He's timed the ball really well. Sometimes, hit a couple of fielders here and there, but a patient innings, a really mature innings in the, whilst more senior players have kind of thrown their wickets away. And that's back of a length by Young, and Billings will turn that through mid-wicket, and they will take a comfortable 2 runs.
Still at 50. Still a 50 there for the taking.
Still a 50 for the taking. One more hit, one more good hit will do it. Just 4 more runs needed for England. Be a well-deserved half-century, I think, for Billings.
Yeah.
It would have been a well-deserved half-century for either of them. Not enough runs required for both of them to get there. Let's see if Billings tries to... attempter from Young, and that's a no ball. Oh, sorry, a wide based on height, a bouncer that's cleared. Well and truly cleared, well over the top of Billings' head. No need to duck. Maybe a sign of frustration from the boy Young there. Add 1 to the total. 210 on the board, just 3 more required. Let's see if Billings can polish this off in style. It's a nicely timed drive, but the shortish cover will mop up there. No run, and that's the end of the over. Have we got any more tweets?
Let's have a look. My CPU is far better now. I sold my principles out to structural capitalism, says Jay Grover. Anna Forsyth sends a lovely view of I don't know where that is, Anna, excuse my ignorance. There's a bridge with a harbour and a river. Sheffield is the nicest country in the world. Rest it's bizarre Lochwilter, says Jay Grover. Nestlers doesn't have toast with his curry? Well, no, I have a naan though. It's bread. It's baked, I suppose. It's not toasted.
We've got one last change in the bowling, and it's going to be Camphor who's probably going to take care of the denouement of this game, and he comes over the wicket to Willie, who just pushes at that ball, half drives, half blocks through to cover. Camphor's done quite well, 2 for 44 to go along with his 65.
Man of the match, isn't he?
And on almost any other day, without the bludgeoning blows of Bairstow, it would be it may be Camphor's certainly been impressive. Certainly seems to be a diamond in the rough for Ireland to take care of in future internationals. As that's short and pulled away by Willie. Now, will that go all the way to the boundary? There is a fielder who's moving all the way from point to be able to pick this up. And they've taken 2. The scores are level. The tension.
Come on, Ireland.
Just the 106 balls to defend for Ireland. So you're telling me there's a chance Willie taking strike at this will prevent Billings from reaching his half-century. And let's see how this ends. And that is short again and pulled away again by Willie. And that is maybe a 1 bounce 4. But that is all the runs that England need, and England have won the second one-day international by 4 wickets. A fantastic start by England, a little bit of a scare there towards the middle, but a fantastic 7th wicket partnership by Billings and Willie have seen England home with plenty to spare, Grubby.
Yeah, I mean, really comfortable in the end. I know when we were last on together, Al, I was sort of joking away that regardless of what was happening in the match at that particular moment, that England would stroll it, and then proceeded to lose 2 or 3 for next to none. And for a little time, it looked like they might be getting themselves into trouble in the face of some pretty, warrior-like bowling from the likes of Josh Little and Curtis Camphor. But No, it's turned out to be another stroll, really, and as I say, with the best will in the world, sort of pulls apart these two teams, aren't they?
You can see that there's plenty of positives from all sides. That for Ireland, it's repetition against an England team. It doesn't really matter about who's playing. It becomes a matter of you're playing against opposition, which is going to develop you as a team, as a nation.
But there comes. Sorry, Al. There comes a time when you've got to look at the development of a team, and in this case, Ireland, and the way that they have batted the last couple of games. You think we can't keep doing that. You know, you put yourself in a massive hole in a game by batting the way that they bat.
Yeah.
And some of it's technical. As I said earlier, they could do with a bit of Toby Radford involvement. And some of it is, I don't know, the mental approach to it. And I think even, you know, Val Burney said, didn't he, after the first game, I think a few too many of the batters just wanted to feel bat on ball. And lo and behold, we find ourselves 28 for 5. Well, you can't keep doing that. You can't. No. You've got to learn from that. You've got to move on. You've got to get better, both technically and in your approach and your sort of mental state as well. So, lots for them to work on. I
think so. I think it would be very interesting in the third game to see England post a total and Ireland try and chase a total. They've obviously gone in with a game plan. This idea of that, you know, we'll go in, we'll set a target. It's not working, like you said. Yeah. You know, you're brilliant with regards to that, and it's just like, well, you know, it would be interesting for England to, you know, again, to see how the team reacts in that sort of way. Just a quick rundown, the scorecard. Roy out without scoring, a 3-ball duck. Court Delaney bowled Young. Vince was the next to go, bowled by Canfer, very impressive. Canfer, Vince out for 16, just below his usual mid-20s score with a ball that nipped back. Banton came in, hung around for a little bit of time, seems to be Canfer's bunny. He was LBW, bowled Canfer for 15. Bairstow was the next to go. He had an amazing innings, a leg side dominant, but a blast to all parts of the Rose Bowl. 82 off just 41 deliveries. Grubby, I know you were getting quite excited about the idea of Grubby's of the century watch, possibly the quickest one-day 100 for an England batsman. 14 fours and 2 sixes for Bairstow.
He needed to get his ton off 4 more balls than he ended up facing, so he wasn't quite going to do it. But anyway, he got out short anyway. But
Morgan and Moeen, captain and vice captain. I know, as Bear alluded to when he was doing his commentary, both out to little, both without scoring. Morgan with a 2-ball duck, Moeen with a terrible hook shot for a 3-ball duck. But then does that sort of put? And, you know, it was interesting times at 137 for 6 when it was that Moeen departed the scene. But Billings with 46 not out off 88 balls with 6 fours, and Willie with 47 not out off 46 balls with 5 fours and 2 sixes have seen England home with plenty to spare. 216 for 6 is one story, but doing it off just 32.3 overs is that gulf in class, as you alluded to. Little and Canfer the pick of the bowlers. Young 9 overs, 1 for 68. Little 10 overs, 3 for 60. McBride 5 overs for 33. 2 expensive and 2 short. Canfer 6.3 overs, 2 for 50, and just 2 overs of Singh, 2 overs for 3 runs. There's still plenty to be taken out of the third game. I think there are squad places at play. I know that there are lots of test players who aren't in the ODI squad for England, but I think that there's, you know, Billings and Willie have certainly turned around and staked a place for that. There's a place in a 15 for them, and that, you know, it just alludes to what any nation wants, which is strength in depth.
Well, England certainly have that, and we have strength in depth on the Twitter sphere with Grits and Grats, who says, after all that early talk about the man with a penis on his arm, it's probably fitting for the match to end with Willie on the front foot.
I think
Well, there's a
Nice.
few more. Pirate Bedshaw said, "Well, I lost, but I got my dose of euphoria, so I'm happy. Cheers, and see you all on Tuesday." Muttley says, "Thanks for the coverage, folks. Love and sausages. Woof."
Woof.
And Jay Grover says, "Bother." Thank you all very much. Have a cracking weekend, and so to you too, Jay. And on that note, that's it on the Twitter sphere.
I suppose, Bear, I will pass this back to you for you to be able to say final goodbyes and where and when we will catch up with the rest of the cricketing world again.
Well, yeah, we're back on Tuesday for the final ODI. Again at the Rose Bowl. We'll be on air once more at 1:50. I'm in, Knackles in, Hendo's in, I presume. Tone's in, I think. You in, Nestlers?
I'll be in if you want me.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the rota was. I never know what
No.
these things are. You know, I look at it the night before and go, "Oh, one of those people." So that's it. It's been a pleasure having you all, boys. Good to have you back, Grubster.
Yeah.
Thanks, mate. It's been
You're
lovely to be
looking
here.
hairy and refreshed, which is always a good thing. And
Well, I've had beer and curry. That's
what.
what.
What more can you ask for? So I guess it's say everyone say goodbye, and we'll see you on Tuesday. And here's the theme tune. Until then.
Bye-bye.
Cheers, everyone.
Bye.
Guerrilla crickets. Whoa. Guerrilla crickets. Whoa. Guerrilla. Take large man the barricade. Hear this call to arms for every cricket revolutionary. Take up your bats and stumps for the test match insurgency. At first they tried to silence us, but we would not be silenced. They threatened us with lies, so we threatened them with violence. Che Guevara, Sangakkara, Joseph Stalin, Douglas Jardine, Robespierre, Carol Hare, Vladimir Lenin, O'Brien Kevin, guerrilla cricket. It's not about the winning, it's about how many rules you break. Even in cricket commentary, this is the best advice to take. Pick guerrilla cricket, it's the finest choice you'll ever make. There's so much more to cricket than red counters and a slice of cake. But first they tried to sanitize us and clean up our act. But people like it filthy, and we know that for a fact. Fidel Castro, Lenny Pasco, Carlos the Jackal, Umar Akmal, Mahatma Gandhi, Grant and Andy, Brendan Behan, Austin Ian, guerrilla cricket. Stick with us, 'cause you know we're not the